Every time I see all this stuff on the wall, it just makes me happy because it's all my things. And I did get that Valkyrie pop figure, and she does look very good. She's also a bobblehead, so I'm not really a fan of that. I don't like the bobbleheads, I gotta be honest. But when that's the only option, then that's the only option. Nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. I did get the last thing hung up on the wall, which was the case that this vinyl came in, the sleeve. Have it hung up now because I ordered more command strips because I'd run out. I almost had just enough to hang up everything on the wall, but I was like 4 short, so I ordered some more. Stuck those up on the wall because I pinned most of my stuff onto the wall where I could. I pinned posters and stuff up on the wall instead of using command strips, so that saved me a little bit because I've got a fuck ton of pins. I've got a whole, like a box of like 200 or something pins, maybe more, I don't know. It's a big old box of pins, but I'm actually seeing a place that I could have used pins instead of command strips, but I guess it's a future thing to know. Alrighty, let's hop into this first story. Am I the asshole for not wanting to have sex with my girlfriend anymore? Advice needed. Alright. I love the opener here. Guys, despite all the what am I reading, this is a legitimate problem that I'm facing. Alright, the OP is a 21 male. My girlfriend, 21 female, and I have been dating for 5 months. Sex was weird. I thought that maybe it was because we were a new couple and it was our first couple of sex together. I love the phrasing of that. But no. Do you know the anime, manga, Japanese porn thing where the girl acts like she doesn't like the sex? That was my girlfriend when we have... I cringe every time she acts that way. Jesus Christ, for God's sake, please. No. Everything is fine as amazing except the sex. I want her to show me that she enjoys it. I want her to tell me that what's on her mind. She doesn't touch me. I want to touch her chest, back, ass, whatever. I don't want to just lie down and moan. That's not what fabulous sex is. I stopped initiating sex. She got frustrated and said I was withholding sex for no reason. Even when she tried to initiate sex, I declined because sex isn't good when one partner acts like they don't want it. It sounds like y'all are just not sexually compatible. And if that's something that's important to you, then that's a breakupable offense, in my opinion. So, I guess so, Stray, yeah. It just sounds to me like y'all need to break up if this is something that's really important to you. Like, for me, sex in a relationship isn't important for me. So, like, but like if the little bit of sex that is had in a relationship that I'm in isn't up to like what my brain needs to make it fun, then it would be a deal breaker but for most people, I mean, it probably wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. I probably would just get over it, because I wouldn't be in a relationship with someone who wanted to have sex all the time, anyways, just because that wouldn't work. Because I wouldn't want to have sex all the time, so it just wouldn't be compatible. But sex is one of those things that is very important in a relationship for it to be compatible. Honestly, for most people, along the same lines of, do you want kids or not? Like, that level of important. It's not really one of those things where one of you can be like, oh yeah, I'm all in, and the other one can be like, no, and it work for a long period of time. Now, if both partners, sex isn't a big deal to them, then that's absolutely something that can be worked out. But it seems to me that, like, I mean, he's making a Reddit post about it, so clearly it bothers him. Clearly it's important to him. So it's not just like, it's not like he, and she also seems to want sex as well. So it's not like they can just get over it and just not do it. You know what I mean? Like, plus they've only been together 5 months. That's not very long. So, you know, like, yeah. She's being bratty because that's what she's into, yeah. And he's clearly not into it, so they're not sexually compatible. So they should probably break up if sex is an important factor to both of them in a relationship. Yeah, if you talked about it and nothing has changed, then maybe you two are incompatible in the bedroom. A breakup is not that big of a deal at 5 months. The whole point of dating is to determine compatibility. Exactly. This would be a weird reason for breaking up. I don't think it is a weird reason for breaking up. Being sexually incompatible isn't really that weird of a reason to break up, in my opinion. I would tell her that this isn't working for you. The way she acts is uncomfortable for you and is a turnoff. I also would tell her that if it continues, you will have to end the relationship because you both seem to want different things sexually. She's a kink and there's nothing wrong with that, but you don't enjoy the same kink and she can't force that on you. Yeah, it's really that simple. If you've already talked to her about it and she doesn't make an effort, leave her. Otherwise, basically lay down the law and be blunt about it. Yeah, there's not really much more to elaborate on in this. What turns her on turns you off. This is not a weird reason for a breakup, in my opinion. You guys have a fundamental incompatibility when it comes to sex. This goes beyond whether or not you like one position better. Trying to talk to someone out of or into what you like will never be as enjoyable as finding someone who already likes what you like. Yeah, it really is that simple. Oh, perfect. That's funny. The reason I was like stream went for 10 minutes before I joined was because I was watching a Hannah Bales video that I thought was shorter than it ended up being. And she just posted another one about Miley's performance at the Grammys, which I haven't. I was gonna watch her performance at the Grammys after stream, and she just posted her reaction to it, so that's perfect. Yeah, she can be upset that you all aren't having sex without it being a entitlement. She needs to realize that nobody's entitled to sex. I doubt she feels entitled to sex. It's just they were having sex and now they aren't having sex. So she's feeling that decline of interaction there. And that's not an entitlement necessarily. That's just a change of expectation. Especially because he said that I think she does realize that when I decline, she doesn't try to push more. So, yeah, no, I think it's very simple. I think you're just not compatible and you need to break up. That's my decision. No, not the asshole. I think this could have just gone under relationship advice. This didn't need to go under am I the asshole, to be honest. Although I probably wouldn't have found it if I'd gone in relationship advice, because I don't really ever peruse that one. So weird that she didn't even question it. What do you mean? Like she didn't initiate the conversation? Conversation that he's been trying to initiate? I guess, yeah. Like the decline of like him started to say no more often. Yeah, I guess that would probably clue me in, like if my partner suddenly like had a big change of heart about something that was important to me, then yeah, that would be a thing you tend to ask about. So that could be another good red flag for why they need to break up. They're just not compatible, and there's nothing wrong with that. I asked, this is not related in any capacity, but I got my W-2 recently from Amazon, and I needed to ask Max if I was supposed to have two or not, because I've been at the same company, but in 2 different states. So I wasn't sure if I needed to file under 2 different W-2s or not. Also, I did legally change my name this year. I don't think that would affect it, because it does have Nico on the W-2. So I don't think that would matter, because my social security number is the same, so it shouldn't matter that. But Max said I only need the 1 W-2, so I think I'll probably file my taxes today. Just go on and get it over with so I can use that tax return to help pay off the credit card bill that I have, instead of waiting. But I wasn't sure if I needed 1 or 2, and it says I just need 1, and the W-2 adjusts for the different taxes on its own, then it shouldn't take me very long to file. I'll probably call Max after stream if they're available, file my taxes. It's always nice to have Max on the line while I'm filing my taxes, just in case I get confused. So. Plus, I haven't gotten to show them my wall yet. Huh? Like, they've seen photos, but when I finished hanging everything up, I needed to leave pretty immediately after I finished hanging my stuff up. And then Max was actively getting ready for bed. Like, Max was like, I'm literally stepping into the shower right now. So I couldn't stand around and wait for Max to get out of the shower. Not to mention Max went right to bed after their shower. So I haven't gotten to, like, video call them and show them everything. But they've seen photos, so it's not like they have no idea what it looks like or anything. But, you know. Oh, you can't see above the Zelda ones. I guess that makes sense. My head doesn't really go up that high. But I did hang up the other Zelda one. Fills in a big old gap. I think it's funny, though, how little of it you can see in my cameras versus how much there is. This one also has a fun opener as well, this post. Am I the asshole for lying about my food allergy? Let me explain. I love the let me explain. That's funny. I, male, late 30s, have an allergy to fin fish that is non-deadly but serious and uncomfortable. My allergy is not in question. I've been allergic to fish since I was a toddler. My partner, also male, also late 30s, loves fin fish. He could eat it every day if he could. In some cases, I can apparently eat fin fish, specifically canned tuna. I don't know why or how, don't ask. The canning process probably changes something, who knows. My partner knows about my finfish allergy and my ability to eat canned tuna. Everyone in our shared lives know about my finfish allergy and my ability to eat canned tuna. My finfish allergy and my ability to eat canned tuna is common knowledge and a fact of life. Okay, I don't know why we needed to state that 3 times, but we'll keep reading. A few weeks ago, we eat at a restaurant that we've eaten at before. The server advises that one of the items which I order, which I've had versions of before at different restaurants, has anchovies in it. Some non-deadly allergy sufferers will understand here. Sometimes you brush this warning off at restaurants because you know the server and the restaurant say these things mainly to cover their asses so that the onus is back on you, the patron. I decided to brush off the warning as I've had the same dish at different restaurants before without any noticeable reaction. Maybe my allergy to anchovies is similar to my allergy to tuna in some way. We order the food, I eat it, it's good, no problem. Last week, my partner and I are at his place making a delicious tomato-based pasta sauce. I let the sauce simmer for about 20 minutes and excused myself from the kitchen to help out with some housework. During this time, my partner apparently covertly emptied a whole small tin of anchovies into the sauce without telling me to test his theory that my allergy specifically to anchovies wasn't real. He only revealed this tonight over a conversation with friends. Very, very luckily, I did not have a noticeable reaction. During this conversation with our friends, he took particular glee in proving how my allergy was wrong, and by glee, I mean sing-songy voice childish dancing around the table and fishing out the empty tin out of the recycling bin outside and showing it to me to prove his point. So he did something I did not consent to that could have resulted in an allergic reaction, however major or minor. I felt violated. I felt that he broke my trust. I felt hurt. When our friends left, I told him this, and his response was that I lied to him about my allergy when I told the server at the restaurant a few weeks ago that I had a finfish allergy, and by doing so, I was in the wrong. Apparently, I'm the bad guy, which feels like a major deflection of wrongdoing, if you ask me. The fact that he didn't understand that his actions hurt me and made me feel violated is bonkers to me. He got angry at me, and I left for the night. I'm trying to make sense of this all. Am I the asshole in all of this? No. I'm going to go with no, because you didn't lie about your allergy. You do have an allergy. Usually when people say they've lied about an allergy, it's because they have no allergy at all. If I walked around saying, I've got a nut allergy, but I'm not allergic to peanuts, I'm allergic to cashews, it's not a lie. I do have a nut allergy. Cashews are a form of nut, and I might just choose to avoid other nuts as well, just in case. Also, a lot of times, if you don't buy a specific can of nuts, it's not separated from other styles of nuts. So it's not wrong to be like, I am allergic to this category of food, especially because in this case, this guy has an allergy to multiple types of fish, not just one type of fish. It's not like he's got just a salmon allergy, you know. It's more overarching than that. Yeah, and testing people's allergies without their consent isn't funny. Even if that person doesn't end up being a full, complete, total liar about their allergy, it's still not okay to test that, because food allergies can be really, really serious. For example, none of my allergies are gonna kill me. Like none of the allergies I have to anything, food or not, are gonna kill me. Now, I could be allergic to some medicine that I don't know about, but the allergies I know about, none are deadly. But even so, I wouldn't want someone to sneak like cantaloupe or something into my food somehow, because the allergic reaction that it does cause is not fun or pleasant. It's not going to kill me, but it's not fun or pleasant. And even if I wasn't allergic, that would be a violation. I feel like the whole sneaking food thing is a violation, with the exception of like cooking a vegan meal without someone knowing that it's a vegan meal, because that really doesn't do any harm, as long as what's making it vegan isn't also an allergy. Like let's say, like, I know that a lot of vegans will make burgers out of like black beans instead of meat, and they can often make it taste just like meat, or allegedly. I don't know, I've never had a black bean burger, but as long as the person that they're feeding that to isn't allergic to black beans, then I don't see the issue in not mentioning the fact that it's a vegan meal. Woo, you know, like, you know, yeah, that too. Sneaking veggies to your kids when they're not allergic. Yeah, like sneaking in good food to your kids is a different thing, because kids have to eat what you give them regardless. They don't really get a choice in what they eat when they're kids. So being like, no, you have to eat your vegetables, or, ooh, I secretly snuck some veggies into this soup or something, you know, at the benefit of your child's health, isn't necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion. But situations like this where you're like, oh, I know my partner has this allergy, but they ate this thing yesterday, so let's see if they are a liar. Let me dump more of it in. Like, you don't know, maybe he snuck by with, maybe the anchovies they served at the restaurant last night had been cooked in something that sort of negated the allergic part of it, but the ones you just dumped out of the tin didn't experience that same process, and now you've just caused an allergic reaction in your partner for no fucking reason. Like, that's super dangerous, and also just, again, it's a violation. I think it's different in the situation with kids, because there's a power dynamic there already, because the parent is the one in charge. But in a relationship like this where you're partners, there's not supposed to be a power dynamic. You know what I mean? Like, that you're supposed to be on level playing field in your romantic relationships. So it's supposed to be a partnership. So it's very scummy, in my opinion. Ooh, it's best of body cams. Okay. Another video to watch after stream. Very exciting. Before I jump into more Jodie Whittaker stuff. But yeah, no, this guy's not the asshole. His partner is the asshole, and they need to do some serious thinking as to if they want to stay together or not, because that's a major violation of trust, and I would feel very uncomfortable leaving my partner alone with my food for a while after this. You know. Yeah. The thing is, because it's like, I'm not allergic to anything, but my family told me that all meats were chicken because I thought I only liked chicken when I was little. Exactly. Yeah. Kids can often be really weird about food. As a kid who was weird about food, I understand. So, that said, I do wish my parents had handled the way I ate food differently, because a lot of times I was being forced to eat food that I simply did not like. And I don't think that's a thing that should be required. It's one thing to be like, oh no, this is actually this, and to see that the kid is actually full of shit that they don't like something, because kids will say that. Yeah, exactly. Being like, oh, like telling a kid that broccoli is actually like carrots or something, like, and then being like, oh yeah, just because they've heard that broccoli is bad, you know, and so they won't eat broccoli, or that asparagus is just weird shaped broccoli, you know, like things like that, that where the kid doesn't know if they actually like the food or not because of pre-existing expectations, or because they're just being a cheeky little shit. That's also an option. Yeah, again, I think the power dynamic in that situation is what makes that more okay, whereas here it's just a violation of trust here. And honestly, I don't know how long they've been together, but I would, if they've not been together for very long, I would say this is a breakupable offense. If they've been together for a while, like several years, then I would say you need to go seek counseling about this, but don't take breaking up off the table, because this, like I said, this is a very big violation of trust, and I would not feel comfortable letting my partner around my food after this for quite some time. Not the asshole. He doesn't get to test his theories on your allergy without your consent like a lab rat. He was essentially willing to potentially risk your life or hospitalization on him thinking he's right without your consent, and then when it luckily didn't result in such, gloated like a gleeful child. Let that really sink in. You know. I have a similar problem. I tested myself for a particular fish in September last year. Small amount, I was fine. Delighted at the result. A couple of weeks later, I had some more of the same fish. My body revolted within 30 minutes. I became sensitive to other foodstuffs. My guts are still distressed. I'm still having problems. Not funny. Your boyfriend is an idiot. I doubt he will learn this lesson. Yeah. That's another thing too. Like I said, like it's possible those anchovies didn't cause him problems for a slew of reasons. Maybe there really weren't that many anchovies in it. I don't really know what anchovies are, so I gotta be honest. But, you know, like I said, maybe they'd been cooked in a certain way where it sort of negated the part of it that causes the allergic reaction in the NOP. Maybe there just wasn't enough of it to cause an allergic reaction. But by his partner turning around and dumping a fuck ton of it into the food. Okay. I thought I was correct in that it's little canned fish. Okay, cool. I wasn't completely far off in my belief of what it was. Not the asshole. One red flag is that instead of first discussing the matter with you in private, he went out of his way to try to humiliate you in front of friends with a big reveal. Yeah. First red flag was treating OP like a lab rat without any warning. The second was publicly roasting with added humiliation. This might also lead to friends to assume the allergy isn't serious at all. They could easily substitute fresh tuna for canned and cause a problem in the future. Not the asshole. What your partner did was potentially dangerous. Allergies are not something you fuck around with. If someone says they're allergic to something, you take them at their word and avoid feeding them those things. He's not a doctor. He's not some mad scientist residing in a dark basement testing on rats. He poisoned your food for shits and giggles to prove his point. This would 100% be a deal breaker for me. He broke your trust in a horrible way. He decided to play Russian roulette with your health, and he was gleeful about it. Not the asshole. He was totally fine with making you sick. Yeah, that's another thing too. Is that like people with food allergies, especially, like it doesn't always like lead to anaphylactic shock or something. You know, like a lot of people, like again, like myself, the allergies just cause essentially like a baseline allergic reaction of like, for me, I just get really itchy throat, runny nose, itchy eyes. Like that's that style of allergy. Not everyone is like oh, my tongue is going to swell up and close my throat off level of allergic. So it's possible that the little bit of allergic reaction he does get to anchovies, if at all, is not enough to really make it worth bothering with. That doesn't mean he's not still allergic to it. Like my dad, for example, is allergic to tomatoes, but he still eats tomatoes on stuff sometimes because it doesn't cause, like it causes his tongue to swell a little bit, but as long as he's not like downing tomato after tomato, he's fine. So like a slice of tomato on a sandwich isn't going to kill him, for example, and he likes the taste of it. So he every once in a while will eat a BLT sandwich or something like that. And it's not that big of a deal because it's not going to kill him. But then you have other people whose allergies are very much if I have any of that, yeah, his tomatoes are always spicy, yeah. But then you have people with like peanut allergies is a good example, because peanut allergies are usually really serious, where a little tiny itty bitty baby bit of a peanut and they will go into anaphylactic shock. So allergies are very wide ranging, and if this guy has a pretty overarching allergy to finfish, as he keeps calling it, then it's possible that some finfish cause severe allergic reactions and some cause that really minor reaction for reasons unknown. So, but that's why that, like that person said earlier, when someone tells you they're allergic to something, you take their word at face value and you don't feed them that food, because you don't know how allergic they might be, you know, because not everyone goes, oh, I'm so allergic to this thing, I will die, you know? So, I can't understand why so many of these posts end up being about people violating people's food allergies or people lying about food allergies. Oh, I don't really understand it, just because I don't really see the point in most situations. I don't think we've ever read a story where someone actually lied about allergies and it been like, oh yeah, no, that's fine, I can understand why you did that. I don't think we've read any like that. So, yeah. Not the asshole. He was totally fine with making you sick. Instead of addressing something privately, he shamed, humiliated you in front of his friends. 3, when told he deeply hurt your feelings, he didn't care. Yeah. It's never okay to tamper with food, especially allergies. Constant exposure could also lead to problems. Possible explanation for your ability to eat canned fish. Cooking things can destroy or impact the allergen enough to not cause a reaction. That doesn't mean you should experiment, because you can't actually see if that's the case without trying. Yeah. The sustained heat of canning or pasteurizing can often alter the shape or fold pattern of certain proteins in the foodstuff. If that turns out to be the protein that your immune system has mistakenly flagged as a danger signal, then it won't recognize the processed food in the same way it recognizes the fresh version. You might be able to eat it. I have food intolerance to tomatoes, but because of the heat processing alterations, I'm almost always okay to use concentrated tomato puree. There are some brands of tomato ketchup and tomato soup that I can have, and I can even eat many brands of pizza, though not really authentic Italian ones. See, I was right. I just guessed. I just assumed that they were cooked in such a way. It's nice when I'm randomly correct about things. I appreciate that. No, not the asshole. Oh. Ooh. I think I'm gonna try to go to the DMV tomorrow, because I still never got a new driver's license. So while the driver's license I have isn't technically expired, it also technically is expired, because when you move states, at least when you move to Nebraska, your old license expires after 30 days. And I've been in the state longer than that by a bit. So I think I'm going to go over to the DMV on Wednesday, tomorrow, and get a new driver's license. Especially since I've renewed my... If I was going to move again, I probably just wouldn't bother, but there's no technical about it. But Libriana's got a follow-up with her surgeon tomorrow, like really early in the morning, like 9 in the morning. Right, I know, Shrey. And I told her, I was like, we could just go over to the DMV after that, so that, because it'll be at the ass crack of dawn for both of us anyways, and get that taken care of. And she mentioned something about needing to get a new one too, like, because she just needs to get her address updated on it. She doesn't need a whole new license. She just needs her address updated. So we might we'll go over there and do that tomorrow. Finally get it off my list of to-dos, because it's a very important one on the list of to-dos. I need to also call my auto insurance agent and talk to them about getting my rates lowered, since I'm not driving my vehicle. I need to get an insurance that only covers me as a driver and not necessarily my vehicle specifically. because I'm not going to be driving my vehicle for a while. So I don't want to pay $80 a month for a car I'm not driving. So I'm already going to continue to pay the $50 a month for the parking space I don't really use. So, although I have kind of been using it occasionally, but not been parking my car there specifically. I need to figure out, I need to work up the energy to make a phone call. Like a proper phone call, like a appointment style phone call, because I need to speak with my agent, because even though I emailed him and texted him, I haven't heard back from him. So I don't know why they list those as contact possibilities when the fucking agent's not gonna get back to you about it. Because I don't think I can just cancel, because you can't just drive around without any sort of insurance, even if you're not driving your vehicle. So I need some sort, like a driver's insurance that covers me driving someone else's car, or does the car, or does that, is that not how that works? Does the other person's car insurance cover that if they aren't the one driving it? I don't know how that works. Because like if that's how it works, then I could just like split Libriana's car insurance payment in half and pay her for half of it, since I've been driving her car around and will continue to be driving her car around, and just call it even there. I don't know how that works. I guess that's what the agent's for, right? There are a lot of people on this post. There was only like 100 on the last post. There's 800 people on this post right now. That's crazy. All right. Am I the asshole for blowing up at my sister after she said my miscarriage was karma? Probably not, but we're going to read the post. I'm 31 and Emma's 29. A few months ago, I suffered a traumatic miscarriage. It's been one of the most difficult moments of my life, but I'm getting through it slowly. Me and my sister Emma's relationship sort of fell apart a year ago after an incident. We still talk, but it's rare, and she still acts snarky towards me, but I not towards her. My parents have tried to talk to her, but she doesn't want to hear it. She didn't reach out to me at all after hearing the news of my miscarriage, which really hurt. We had family dinner recently. Emma was there, and I was sort of saying to Mom that even my friends sent a card to check in with me to see how I was doing, but not a word from Emma. Emma got a bit defensive after hearing that, but I thought it was the end of that. Okay, you said you aren't being snarky towards her, but I mean, I guess it's not being snarky because it is a bit rude, but bringing it up in front of her, I feel like, is a bit asking for trouble, you know, like bringing up, like shit talking your sibling to your mother in front of your sibling, even if it's deserved shit talking, feels like a way to sort of poke the bear, I guess. Emma got a bit defensive after hearing that, but I thought it was the end of that. Fast forward a couple weeks, I get a text from Emma saying she sent me a card. She sent a card for me. I get the card, and inside she wrote, "Karma is your boyfriend, stings right." I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, so this is referencing her song. I was shocked Emma could be so outwardly cruel. We had a big fight over the phone, and I said she needs to get over her shit and realize the world doesn't revolve around her. It's all blow up a bit now. My husband and parents are thankfully being supportive of me and telling Emma to apologize, but my youngest sister is on Emma's side. Am I the asshole? Okay, no, not the asshole. I feel like we need a lot more context. Info. What exactly was the incident that caused your relationship to fall apart? Info. Can you go into specifics as to what happened to make the gap in the relationship for clear context? People are saying OP has another post on here. I didn't attend a funeral, so she's still holding a grudge against me. Her partner and his sister passed in an accident, and I was unable to attend the funeral. I apologized at the time because I couldn't make it, but she always still acts snarkily. Okay. Again, I still feel like OP is avoiding answering questions, which is never a good sign in my opinion. Why did you miss the funeral of her partner, of her That seems like she's saying as if it's not a big deal, but her sister's partner died and she didn't attend the funeral. Yeah, it's got a bunch of downvotes on it. That seems a bit sus, and it feels like she's framing it in a way where it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you think about it, her partner, my sister's partner, and the partner's sister both passed in an accident. We don't even know why she couldn't make it to the funeral. It doesn't justify being cruel about the miscarriage, but I feel like OP is purposefully kind of hiding what they did. I wish we knew why. Like, did she have a good reason to miss the funeral, or was it just I can't make it, you know, I haven't tried to make it, but I can't make it, you know? I don't get the expecting a card or comment from everyone thing. That's a little weird, but Nima still went too far. I agree. My low empathy ass does not understand why it's fine to be pissy about missing a funeral or not sending a card about a miscarriage. Yeah, I struggle to understand it as well, but I feel like I don't understand the needing a card about the miscarriage thing. I feel like as someone who's never had a miscarriage and will never have to experience it from a first-hand experience, like it's possible I'll be with a partner that experiences it, I don't understand, like you said, I don't understand wanting everyone to say something about it. Like, it to me feels like the kind of thing that like you wouldn't want everyone bringing up every single time you see them, you know, like it's not something you'd want to be reminded of on a regular basis. But you know, some people just aren't comfy with engaging with those kinds of things. Like OP said, they just can't make it. Yeah. I'm just saying, based on the way OP is framed, this whole interaction makes me distrustful of OP. Because it did feel like a lot of information was left out of the original post. And then we find out, because they just said an incident and then didn't say what the incident was. And every time OPs tend to hide history that could or could not, you know, that may or may not change the context. I always find that super suspicious personally. And I feel like it's not okay to be so cruel about a miscarriage, but at the same time, I think I understand it more if this person is still upset about their sister not attending the funeral of their dead partner. Like, I think that is a big deal. But it did say a few years ago. So if it's been a few years, like, move on, you know? Like, get over it. But, I don't know. I'm still gonna go with not the asshole because blowing up about sister being rude about miscarriage isn't necessarily, like, bad. Like, I would also be very pissed off. So, no, not the asshole for this situation. You might be the asshole for the incident situation, but we don't know enough about it to make a dedicated designation for that. It's a weird thing to hold a grudge over, yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right. Next post. Am I the asshole for digging in my heels about sex in a prenup? I honestly can't believe I'm asking this, but my boyfriend has gotten so mad that I'm feeling a little crazy now. We're both 34. He had a terrible marriage before that ended in a dead bedroom, and he's determined to never go back to that life again. Understood. I think that sucked for him to experience. So now he wants a prenup and literally wrote into the prenup that we will have sex X amount of times a week or else I get absolutely nothing in the divorce. What? Okay. I said that I said oh, that's so stupid. Extra stupid from my perspective, but even from a normal person perspective, that it's so stupid. We had already agreed to a 50-50 prenup of marital assets, and we keep what we came into the marriage with. Now that's not enough for him. He wants me to prove that I won't stop having sex with him in the future. I tell him that I can't prove the future, and putting something in writing doesn't prove it. Now he says that I must have a guilty conscience if I won't sign these terms, because if I'm so certain it won't happen, then what's the problem? But to me, it makes me feel like a sex slave and not a loved wife or partner. I wonder why that would be. I wonder why putting your sex life into a contract would make you feel like a sex slave. What the fuck? Dude, that's wild. Is this the boyfriend you broke up with a few months ago because you had an excellent reason to break up with him back then, and then you have excellent reasons to break up again, but this time stay broken up? What is it with these OPs having a backstory? Hello? Something went wrong. Weird. Okay. It says not safe for work, so we're gonna okay, no, this isn't, it's okay, we're fine. This is a different post from the same OP from 2 months ago. 34 boyfriends, so it's probably the same boyfriend. I doubt she's marrying a new 34-year-old. So we're gonna read this context and probably deem her the asshole to herself for staying in this relationship. All right. My 34-year-old boyfriend has a history with a previous marriage where he was sexually neglected to the point that it's a genuine trauma now. Since then, he's pursued submissive women and almost exclusively open relationships or friends with benefits, so he feels in control of getting sex. If one woman isn't in the mood or available, he has others he could reach out to. When we met, I made it clear I only date in monogamous relationships. He pursued me and ended things with everyone else because he found an emotional connection with me that he didn't have in his friends with benefits relationships. I've asked him if he can be happy with me when I'm not a submissive woman. I have a career where women he dated in his previous life didn't work. He provided everything. I made significantly more money than him, which he has mentioned several times bothers him. Yet when I ask if he can truly be happy with me, he tells me it's nice to have the weight of having to provide solely on his shoulders. It's nice not to have the weight solely on his shoulders. It's nice to have a woman that's so intelligent, someone with drive, ambition, and that he absolutely fell in love with, and how I put myself through graduate school and have accomplished everything on my own. Yeah, I feel like saying, oh, my last partner wouldn't have sex with me and now it's a trauma is definitely a bit stupid. Like, it sounds really dumb to me. Like, sexually neglected just feels so like such a goofy title, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe that's just because of how I am about sex and stuff, that it just feels like really dramatic to say that, oh, I have genuine trauma because my last partner stopped having sex with me. Like, I don't know. That just feels very dramatic. Yeah, we have arguments all the time. If I ever say anything that isn't 100% praising him. On Monday, I told him I wanted salad for dinner. He made soup full of carbs and it was delicious, and I praised him for how delicious it was and left it at that. On Tuesday, he made burritos. I ate one. I told him it was really good, but that I'm dieting and it's not on my diet. It's been days and he won't look at me because he says I told him that he was wrong for cooking for me. I never did. I've told him at least 24 times, no exaggeration, since then, that I don't think he's wrong. I rejected his acts of service for me. I am and am guilting him because I reminded him that I've been telling him for 4 months that I'm dieting. Yeah, this guy sounds like a major red flag. He wants a sub and he wants to demand sex X times a week, and it sounds like he didn't want to be monogamous at all. Yeah, it's like we have another sexually incompatible couple here. It feels like this guy wants someone who's submissive in all aspects of their life. And that's not this relationship. I'm starting to lose hope here. He's now upset because we aren't having sex. It's been 4 days, but we aren't having sex because he won't look at me. He says he wants me to initiate it when he's mad to get him out of the funk, but last time he was mad at me, I got on top of him and offered him a blowjob, but he refused because he was mad at me. So this relationship is a lose-lose, I guess. Update, we broke up. He kept asking for sexual things that he knows I'm semi-uncomfortable with, but I agreed to try and then insisted we should have sex even at 2 a.m. if he wakes up horny, even if I'm asleep. I said no. I told him that me wanting my basic needs met, like sleeping, is not guilting him, and I am done as well. Yeah, it sounds like y'all should have broken up and stayed that way. And stayed far away, actually. This is not sexually incompatible. He has control issues. Yeah. He legit does. He does, yeah. We now know he does legit want a sex slave. He's trying to write it into a prenup contract. He sounds like he needs therapy. Yeah. I would agree, but he says therapy was invented to trick gullible women, so that will never happen. Yeah, so leave him. Leave, my God. I read your other post about the prenup. This man is not stable. Oh, so we all came here from that post. Yeah. Yeah. What does he mean by submissive woman? Someone who obeys every single thing a man says. Care to explain? Yes, I won't ever contradict him. Yeah. Run, this man will break you with his childish behavior. Run fast and far. Agreed. This is not what submission is. I don't really think that's what expecting obedience is. That's just a grown man acting like a toddler. If you want a more traditional relationship, that's wonderful, but that is not what this is. I am submissive to my husband, and this morning I told him I couldn't eat the breakfast he made because of a strict diet, but I appreciated it so much and it would be wonderful for the kids. His response was, I'm so impressed with how hard you're sticking to it. Good for you. End of issue. Yeah. He was sexually neglected to the point that it's genuine trauma now. This is fucking bullshit. Yeah. Thank you. It's taking me like a full minute of scrolling to see someone say this. What the fuck would that even mean? Yeah. I still can't wrap my head around it. He was someone holding a gun to his head laughing, I'm not going to have sex with you. If his needs were not being met, no one was holding a gun to his head to stay. Yeah. I can understand being traumatized by a dead bedroom in the sense that it will cause a lot of self-esteem issues that could be very hard to come back from, but in no way is that USDA certified trauma, right? Not getting sex isn't traumatic, nor does it leave one traumatized. OP's fiance doesn't believe in therapy, but they do believe in trauma. How do they know they have a trauma response around Reed's notes not being allowed free use of their partner's genitals? Has OP ever met or spoken to the ex-wife? It just sounds like there's a lot more to that situation than he's letting on. If I had to guess, I'd say that the ex accused him of rape and now he's playing the victim card. Please tell me you stayed broken up. Yeah. OP, your other post. You guys broke up 49 days over his stance on sex and giving you the silent treatment, and now you're here with him as your fiance and the same issue but greater. Break up with him and make it stick this time. You say in your other post that you aren't a submissive woman, may be true, but he is turning you into one and his punching bag. Considering how he viewed and handled women before you because of his trauma from not getting enough, he will cheat on you. Yeah, that is exactly, yeah. He wants a sex slave. That's what he wants. True. What if he develops erectile dysfunction and you lose out because of his limp dick? That's a very high possibility. No, he doesn't have a lawyer, but he did say when it comes to signing it, he wants a psychiatrist present to witness that I'm not being coerced and can't claim it later. Like, this literally came out of nowhere last night. I was just at work and asked him if everything was okay because he's been feeling distant lately, but he's gotten a rough semester right now, getting his second master's, but then got avalanched with all of this. Yeah. That's literally not how consent works. You can't consent to sex weeks, months, years in advance. Not that you can't try to. I mean, it is literally impossible for you or anyone to do so. Yeah, because consent for sex is a moment-to-moment basis. What he is trying to do is put you in a situation where he will coerce you into sex for the rest of your life, whether you want it or not. You had a huge fight. Too bad. You still need to drop your pants for the weekly sex. Number 3. He cheated on you or did some other horrible thing that would naturally affect the marital sex life. Better continue getting on your knees, or you can expect to be penniless on the street after you divorce. Yeah. You had surgery for a ruptured appendix, and doc said no sex for 6 weeks? Too bad. Yeah. This man is every kind of red flag imaginable. So, I think you might be seeing why the first wife stopped wanting to have sex with him. Yeah. Nothing like obligation and pressure to get you in the mood. Nothing gets me hornier than contractual stipulations. The BDSM kind of slave still consents and can say no when they really want to. Exactly. But he wants even that to not be a thing. So... He's an abuser that doesn't view women as human. Yes. Not the asshole. Leave this man. And never return. Ever. For any reason. If possible, staple a red flag to his face so that other women also don't approach this man. Because he is a hazard. Get a restraining order. Yeah. Ah. Okay, I didn't get that much sleep last night because I couldn't fall asleep. That's why I'm yawning. But since I'm going to be up early in the morning, I'm just going to try to stay awake and then go to bed early. I go to bed at like, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock. So I can get enough sleep before I have to be up early tomorrow, and then just stay up. We'll see. He seems the type to stalk. Very possibly am. Alright. Am I the asshole for not telling my girlfriend I was going to break up with her if she went on vacation with male friends? Basically, my girlfriend went on vacation with her male friends. I told her this made me uncomfortable and didn't want her to go. By the way, she used to hook up with one of them before she met me. She told me it'd be fine and that they're like brothers to her. I already made the decision to break up with her right then and there, but I wanted to get my stuff from her place before anything, and I figured I should do that while she's gone. I also didn't want to break up over text or calls, so I waited for her to come back. I picked her up when she came back, dropped her off, and gave her the key to her place back and broke up. She started crying, and she figured out it was because of the vacation. She kept saying that nothing happened. I told her she knew I wasn't comfortable with it, and she still went. She mentioned that I should have said that I'd break up with her if she went, and that if she knew she'd never have gone. I told her I didn't want to be controlling and threatened her with ending the relationship. We kept going back and forth over this for a while. More context, she never actually introduced me to these friends. Even though I mentioned I wanted to meet them, she kept making excuses. She never told me that she used to hook up with her friend. I only found out because I found an old picture of them kissing when she was showing me some old travel pics. I was okay with their friendship until now. This was just too much for me. Did she cheat on me? Who knows? But at this point, I was sick of doubting. Which is fair. I think you should have had more of a conversation. But, I think you could have had a bigger conversation, but maybe you've had conversations about this before now. I don't know. But it definitely seems like a thing to have a bigger conversation about. Exactly. Yeah. When he expressed the fact that he was not comfortable with the situation, that was when they should have sat down and had a conversation about it. And she could have invited him on the vacation. She could have say, hey, you can meet them before we go. I definitely think it's a bit sus her not letting him meet her friends. I think that's definitely a bit weird. I'm usually against the whole like, oh no, you can't hang out with friends of, the opposite sex because you'll just cheat on me. Like, unless that person has a history of cheating on you, which in my opinion, if they've cheated on you, you shouldn't be with them anyways. But if a person has a history of cheating and and this is of course talking specifically about straight people, and you don't trust them to spend time with people of the opposite sex, then I think that's enough of an indication that you shouldn't be together, because you don't trust them. Whether they've earned that lack of trust or not, you don't trust them, and that doesn't make for a good relationship. Yeah, if it wasn't sus, then why wasn't he invited? I don't know how long they've been together. He doesn't say how long they've been together. Maybe they've not been together long enough for that to be an invite given, but, I feel like, does he give an age? No, he doesn't give ages either. Yeah. And also, because of the way I've lived my life, I can't be like, oh, well, they're an ex, so that's sus. Like Max and I are exes, but that's not sus in any capacity. Max and I still spend quite a bit of time together, despite the fact we've not seen each other in a while. And, like, you can be friends with your exes. I'm a believer that you can, because I am. Now, are there some people whose exes they absolutely can't be friends with? Absolutely, those people absolutely exist. But I think the fact that this is not only and it's an issue regardless of reason, simply because of the lack of trust, regardless of why the lack of trust is there, whether it's an earned lack of trust or whether it's just a general lack of, like maybe she's not done anything to make him not trust her. Maybe she has cheated before. Maybe it's just all the things that he listed up here as context, that he's never met the friends. She didn't tell him that they dated. He just found out. Never told me they used to hook up. And that he's been fine with their friendship until now. It's just been a boiling point for him. So it's almost always cheating. Yeah, I've been learning that recently, that the ways of allosexuals is very complicated. The fact that she claims she wouldn't have gone if she knew you'd break up over it doesn't make it better. It makes it worse. It shows she doesn't care how it affects you unless it becomes a problem for her too. It is zero integrity and not long-term partner material. It should not take you leaving or thinking about leaving for her to not dismiss your feelings. That's asinine. I agree. I think the context is definitely important. I think the fact that he's never met these friends is the most suspicious thing to me. Like, that's just weird, in my opinion. So, I don't think you're the asshole. No. But there is an update. So we have an update from 2 days ago. Hello, my post got a lot of attention. I responded to a few comments and even edited it, so I figured I should just update you all. Her male friend reached out to me on Instagram, the one she used to hook up with. He asked if I was dating my ex, and I told him what happened. He actually apologized. He said he didn't know that we were still dating. He said that my ex was talking mad shit about me, and he was confused. Apparently, my ex told him that we broke up months ago, and they've been hooking up regularly since. Yes, including the trip. The guy even showed me some pics of the two of them kissing during the trip. Ding, 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 ding. There we go. So that explains why she never wanted me to meet them. So all my suspicions were correct. The guy actually seemed like a decent guy. He apologized a lot for what he did. I don't hold any resentment towards him, and I'm glad I got confirmation that I made the right decision. So to all of you who've supported me, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And one last comment to say to some of you, my insecurity kept me from wasting any more of my time. Yeah. I always initially suspect that, but then with the context of the fact, like I said, her not letting him meet any of her friends is the most suspicious thing. Like, I feel like obviously meeting them doesn't mean that they can't still cheat on you with those people, but I feel like you're going to be a bit more guilty, you know, because there's less secrets. Like if it's a friend group, you know, if it's a proper friend group where like these are her friends and you start dating her and now you've met her friends, because there are women out there who have majority guy friends. Libriana is one of those people. Like most of her friends are dudes. And I feel like a lot of guys would be intimidated by that. And I think that's an insecurity. Now, if those people are their exes, that's an understandable insecurity to have, something to be wary of. But if you have a healthy relationship with your partner, then it shouldn't necessarily be something you're too concerned about all of the time. But in this specific situation, the context of knowing that he's tried to meet her friends and she keeps blowing him off, that in of itself would have been enough for me to be like, okay, fine, you don't want me to meet your friends, but you want to go hang out with your friends without me meeting them. Like, I don't know who your friends are. Like that alone is a big red flag for me. Your partner not wanting you to meet their friends, like why? What could be the reason for that? Either they're ashamed of you or ashamed of their friends, and either way, it's not a good situation. So yeah, she was giving him the signals and the signs, and he said, okay, bye. And then he had his suspicions confirmed. I'm happy for him that he got his suspicions confirmed. It's always nice to have those things wrapped up, so that you're not left questioning forever, if you made the right decision or not. So I wish I knew where to start on making friends. I still wouldn't say I work well with my work colleagues. I'm the anti-stereotype IT guy. Yeah, making friends is hard. I still only have the one, really. And then occasionally Libriana will have somebody over and we'll all hang out together, whether it be one of her other friends, whether it be the guy she wants to be more than friends with. Like, you know, I've hung out with a number of her people over these past few months. Not really my type of people, to be honest. But they're not the worst people on the planet or anything like that. Just not my type of people specifically. Like, not the right, what's the word? What is the word? Not personality type, but like, maybe personality type. I don't really know what the word is. We just don't vibe, for whatever reason. So half of them are usually on a Steam Deck at lunch gaming. Interesting. I forget that the Steam Deck is a thing. Like regularly. I regularly forget that those are a thing. I think my making friends has definitely been hindered by the fact that I'm not out at work. So it makes making friends a little bit more difficult. I really have pretty exclusively only been coming out to people once I'm sure that I want to try to hang out with them outside of work. And I've not come out to any guys since I've moved, just because men tend to be a bit more weird about it. So, making friends as an adult sounds fake. Yeah, that too. So. Rookie, I would have to disagree with you. Making friends as an adult is very difficult. Yeah, the work dynamic, the dynamic at work has been very incorrect lately because a lot of people are leaving. That's the problem with working at like a warehouse job, is the turnover is very high. So even for people who stick around a bit longer, they're still more likely to leave. So a lot of our buddies are between like not going to work the first couple weeks this year, and then Libriana not being at work, and then having a number of people leave because their contracts were out, and now having a number of people change shifts now that we're out of peak season, changing to shifts that more suit their lifestyle. So like my friend Lori, she's not on RT shift anymore, which is the weekends, which is what I work. She's moved to front half nights, so she can see her kids more. Which she's been wanting to do for a while, but there hasn't been any openings in a while. But she did her move on shifts while I was out sick, so I haven't seen her. And then we've got a couple others that have put in their 2 weeks notice, that are either just left or like this last week was their final week, and then or next week is. So the dynamic at work has been changing quite a bit because everyone's kind of scattered. So it's been interesting. Once things finally started to feel consistent, everything shifted all of a sudden. So not to mention, like, other people are on vacation right now, and like at work these past couple weeks. So they had me train someone a while back to be problem solve, and then Libriana is also problem solve trained now. And about the past couple weeks, both Libriana and the other person that I trained have both been out. The other person is on vacation, and obviously Libriana's been out because her gallbladder got, extracted from her body. So it's left just me as pretty much the only problem solver, at least in the department. They can pull from other places in the building, but there's not many other people in the building who are experienced enough in problem solving in that area, like in that department, who can keep up. At least not necessarily not keep up, but they struggle to make progress. So like they can keep up with all the new problem solve that's coming in, but they don't do as well with knocking down what we've had, like what was left for us from the prior shift. Because that just takes time and learning how to do the job. You have to get faster at it before you can, make that jump. And be fast enough at it that you can not only keep up with all the new stuff coming in, but also knock down what was left for us from the prior shifts. So it's been interesting because I'm also one of the only like 2 pit drivers that we have as well. So if Eli isn't there, then I'm the only one who can get on pit and drive. Again, from our department, there are other they can pull from outbound and stuff if they need to. So all week, these past 2 weeks, I've been yanked back and forth between Problem Solve and Pitt on a pretty regular basis. Fortunately, they've not been leaving us a lot of Problem Solve from day shift, so it wasn't too terrible. So I could spend the whole day on Pitt and it not really and not leave that much Problem Solve. So that was good. We also we didn't have any of the big blowups that happen sometimes where we'll get like a whole wall of boxes that just won't scan in, or we get a whole bunch of like the same issue over and over and over again. We didn't have that these past 2 weeks, which was really helpful. But it's been an interesting couple weeks, and it must be nice to have money. It's like $400 for a cheap one. Yeah, the Steam Deck isn't really more expensive than the Switch. Yeah, they're about the same price. Yeah, I'm glad to feel like I can spend money again, even though I'm trying to not spend that much money because I'm out of my shopping addiction phase. But every once in a while, like the Doctor Who stuff I just bought. Granted, I want to say I did get my bang for my buck. Like I spent $100 and I got 7 books, 2 comic book covers, and a massive poster for $100. Like a massive poster. Like we're talking 2 feet by 5 feet. Like it's a huge poster. Very good deals on all of those things. So money well spent. It's not. I didn't just willy-nilly go out and spend money. But although I did want to, because Skull Candy is a brand that I've loved for a very large portion of my life, since I was in middle school, and I don't really have the opportunity to buy their stuff like ever, because the stuff they make I either already have or I already have a version of, but they have I wheeled onto my blanket. Hold on. I got an ad for their over-the-ear headphones the other day, and they look gorgeous, and they have like a bass slider on them, which is something that I would use quite often, because there are some days where the bass in songs just is super overstimulating and I can't, like, I just have to not listen to music because I can't handle it. So that would be a helpful feature to have, but they're expensive because over-the-ear headphones are expensive, and so I didn't buy them because they're expensive, and because I also don't need them. Honestly, the primary reason was that I didn't need them. If I could justify spending $140 on them, like I did with the tablet, for example, like I've easily gotten my money's worth out of this tablet. You know what I mean? I don't remember how much I spent on it. $400? I don't remember. Yeah, I think I got it for $400, $350, something like that, because it was on sale. I think I've gotten my money's worth out of it already, and I just bought it a couple months back. I bought it for, what was it, Black Friday? And I'm very, very happy with my purchase. Very, very, very happy. Every day I'm more happy that I made that purchase, because I can justify it now. I've read a number of comic books on it. I plan to continue to read manga and stuff on it. I've been using it at Libriana's the past couple weeks. I took it on vacation with me. Like, I've absolutely got my money's worth. If I could justify the purchase of the headphones in the same way that I justified the purchase of this tablet, then I probably would have gone on and bought it, even though it was expensive. But I can't think of a situation where I would need over-the-ear headphones, because I use earbuds. I have my Google Pixel earbuds that I use basically every day. So I don't need additional headphones, you know what I mean? Especially ones that expensive. Because I've already got $70 earbuds. Is that how much they were? 70? Yeah. So, you know, as pretty as they were, I showed some restraint. I feel like if I hadn't been sick this month, I probably would have bought them. I gotta be honest. I might have. I can't say for certainty. For certain. I might have still talked myself out of it the same way I did this time. But I think it would have been harder if I was in the financial situation I was expecting to be in at this point of the year. which was a much better financial situation. Losing 2.5 weeks of pay, even though I did get disability checks, so I didn't 100% lose out on 2 weeks of pay. I lost probably, well, 2.5 weeks. I probably lost closer to, I don't know, a week or two, week and a half of pay. But that's enough. That's enough to set you back. So, need to save up for car repairs or your surgery. Yeah, I think I'm probably just going to buy a new car at some point in the next few months. Once I dig myself out of the credit card hole I'm in at the moment, I'll probably look into getting a new car, because it's just not going to be worth it to fix mine. Mine's too old and it has too many miles, and it's going to cost me too much to fix that. It would be cheaper just to buy a new car. It would be a better financial decision to just, not necessarily a new car, but like get a new to me car, like, you know, a used vehicle, but one that's not crazy old, maybe like late 2010s, like 2019, 2018, like car, like a car 10 years older than the car I had before. So I had an 06, so getting like a 2016 car or something newer, a little bit newer than that, would be probably the better financial decision, because then that car will last me another 10 years, you know, if I take care of it. But I basically just want the same car I already have again, because I really like my my mini SUV. I'm quite a fan of it. It's been very helpful over the years. My life would have been very different if I had gotten like a standard like Camry style car or a truck or a van. Like, it would have been a very different life if I had a car with such a little with such little storage space, because being able to move myself from apartment to apartment has been insanely helpful. Yeah. Oh, that's what I mean. I'm just thinking like general age range. I don't need a new car. I'm not going to be searching for a new car. But I probably will stay out of the pre-2010 era. Because at this point we're reaching cars that are 20 years old. And so the mileages on a lot of those cars just aren't going to be ideal. No, the mechanic isn't the one. Well, technically the mechanic did suggest it, but I already knew going in that if what was wrong with it was wrong with it, that I would probably just be better off buying a new car before the mechanic told me what was wrong with it. And, you know, but it doesn't benefit the mechanic for me to buy a new car. It benefits the mechanic for me to pay them to make my car new. But it's going to cost me a new car basically to fix what I have on my old car. And then my old car is probably just going to kill out in a couple years anyways. So it would make more sense to just drop the same amount of money on a new car, because it was going to be $3,400 just to make it safe to drive again, and that's not even all of the things that it needs fixed. So yeah, but I need to dig myself out of this credit card hole I'm in for first, between loaning somebody money and then being sick for the first 2 weeks of the month. You know, I'm in a bit of a hole. So yeah, it's not, but it's probably time for a new vehicle anyways. Maybe I can find a similar model vehicle that's a bit newer. I got the $500 credit card and I've been using it. I've maxed it out already. But I haven't tried to sign up for any more because it just wasn't working, and I haven't heard back about the name change on my pedal card. I just haven't had the energy or the time, and I haven't been home enough to really look into those lately. And I'm not really. I kind of gave up on it. I'll worry about it in a few months once I decide to go car shopping. But I don't want a Toyota Corolla. I do not want a Toyota Corolla. But no, I probably will though. Once I decide to start car shopping again, I'll probably go back into the market for a higher credit card. But we'll see. We'll see where I'm at in a few months, and come summertime, we'll see where I'm at. Go from there. Especially come May, because I've got my top surgery consult in May. So we'll have to see where we are come that time. Because if I have to put off getting another car in favor of top surgery, then I will, because I don't really go pit places. So, and the only places I do go, I can get people to take me to. I've discovered in the past month that getting a ride to work is surprisingly easy. Not to mention that Libriana's available and has been gracious enough to allow me to use her vehicle, even if she's not in it. But even outside of her, I've gotten rides from several other people over the past month, and it's not been a hassle at all, really. There's always somebody who's willing to take me home or take me to work. So, yeah, I know. Especially because right now my credit score is going to be going down probably again this month as well, because I don't think I'm going to be able to pay, at least not the bigger one off. I'm going to get the $500 card paid off first, because I owe $2,000 on the pedal card, so I doubt I'm going to be able to get that paid off this month anyways. So that way I'm not, going over on 2 cards. I'll just be going over on the one. So I'll probably, once I have enough saved up for rent this month, I'll start pouring money into those cards, and I should have rent by next week. So I'll get paid tonight, which isn't going to get me all the way to full rent, but part of next week's will. And then I can start just dumping money into the credit card payments. So I've not been, though. That's the thing, is I'm still not physically back where I need to be to work as much as I should be. But they've also not been sending out extra shifts. They haven't needed the extra work, so they've not been sending out extra shifts. I took VTO this past week for one of the days, and I'm very, very glad I did, because I was absolutely wiped after those 2 days that I did work. But I was hoping that they'd start sending out overtime shifts so I could go in and pick up those shorter shifts, which tend to be a little bit less exhausting, but they haven't been sending anything out. So they will soon. Come March, they'll start sending out more, though. They usually do. Once we hit springtime, there seems to be an uptick in what people buy for whatever reason. Not to mention in, I think June is when Prime Day is. And then July 4th, we've got holidays and stuff coming up. Our things don't tend to go up for Thanksgiving, for Valentine's Day. Our things don't tend to go up for that. So I don't suspect that we'll be getting extra time soon. Maybe come March, though. But we'll see. I've been enjoying my time off work. I've been enjoying my 4 days off a week. That's been really nice. The worst holiday, I agree. But we'll see. I'm not too concerned about it. If you can't tell, I'm not that concerned about it. But what needs to happen will happen. It's the way it's been going, anyways. Valentine's Day. You and plenty of other people, I'm sure. Oh, I don't think I mentioned, my papa passed away last week before last, recently. And he did leave me a little bit of money, just a tiny little baby amount of money, but I'm going to try to not use that to dig myself out of this hole. I'm going to try to hold on to it. Just $1,000, nothing crazy, but it's something, and I'm very grateful for it. I'd rather have him alive, but you know, it is what it is. But I don't think I'm going to try not to use that money for, I think it would be cool to save that money and have it help me pay for top surgery when that time comes around. I think that would be nice, a way to sort of include him in my transitional journey. But we'll see if I need to dip into it. Hopefully I won't. I've put it somewhere where I don't calculate it into my monthly savings for like rent and things like that. So, and then the person that I loaned money to owes me money back that I'm probably gonna leave in Venmo as it accrues there. So I'm not seeing it all the time. See if I can get these things paid off on my own, even though she's part of the reason that I need to pay it off anyways. Or that I have so much on the credit card anyways. Because a good 600 of the credit card is money that I gave her. But, so it's obviously some of it will go back into paying off the credit card from her, but, you know. Last time I helped anybody with anything, let me tell you, I'd sink a bunch of money into helping a friend out, and then the universe tells me to go fucking kill myself, basically. Last time I'm helpful to anybody ever. Good karma my ass. Help somebody out of a hole, and then the universe said, how about you go be sick and miss basically 3 weeks of work, and then all this other shit as well. Dead family members dropping like flies. Found out about another one today. Not one that I knew well, but another person in the family that is gone now. And on top of being sick for 20 motherfucking days. I get it, universe. I shouldn't be helpful. I'll go back to being an unhelpful little shit. Fuck. Oh. Oh well. Like I said, it is how it is. Nothing I can do about it now. I know. It's so... How dare I? How dare I? The universe put me in a financially good enough situation to help a friend out, and then immediately swung back and said, you thought you were in a good financial position? How dare you think you were in a good enough financial position to help somebody else out with money? Sorry, I didn't want my friends' kids to not have a home on Christmas, universe. Like... Because it's frustrating, because if I hadn't gotten sick, it wouldn't be an issue. That's the thing. If I hadn't gotten sick, giving her that money, obviously with the expectation of her paying it back. I didn't just hand it to her. She knows she has to pay me back the money. It was never just like a keep this money. It was a here's a loan, you know. But if I hadn't gotten sick, that wouldn't be an issue, you know. But I did, so it is. I gave her one of my checks and then the 600 on the credit card. So yeah, I know. It's not a huge deal, but yeah, giving money is for the super rich. Everyone else lives in fear. Yeah, honestly. It's not even a joke. It's just true. Yeah. But yeah, my car went to shit the same week I decided to help her out too. It was like instantaneous. Well, that was just the week I finally decided to take the car to get looked at, was the same week. that because the issue got worse. So I was like, I should probably stop driving this car. So last time I'm helpful. Let me tell you. All right, next post. I needed a bit of a reading break, so. All right. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that I, quote, can't do this anymore after he quit his job to work with his mother? We are due to have our daughter in 2 weeks and planned ahead of time so I could stay home for a year with her while I'm nursing. We saved around $26,000 plus took into consideration that at his job he was making $3,000 a month. $3,000 a month, $23 hourly. Holy shit. $3,000 a month. Nice. This is true. Our bills for the year come around to $46,000, and they're dual income before the baby, so that makes sense. Since we got pregnant, his mom has been super overbearing with the boy mom bullshit. She's been trying to force her way into our lives in ways that I'm not okay with. Trying to convince us to buy a house with her so she can help raise her baby's baby. My husband actually considered this, and I shot it down immediately. She's been stopping in whenever she feels like it was stuff for him and him only. She literally brings him food, one serving, only enough for him, around dinner time, probably 2 to 3 days a week, saying, I just know you miss mama's cooking. What about you, though? You're pregnant, huh? With her baby's baby, allegedly. So, keeps buying him mom plus son jewelry, knowing he won't wear jewelry, and tells me he will wear it. It's a mom and son thing you wouldn't understand. When I tell her he's not going to wear it, he hasn't worn any of it. She's 100% treating him like he's her husband, calling him to go do things for her all hours of the day or night, and all around just trying to get him out of her house and over to hers. On the off chance that he does go over, she's all like, since you're here, I will let you treat me to a mom and son date at Denny's, or when she's here, she will look at me and tell me how she takes her coffee and expect me to make it for her. I know I'm rambling, but this woman is batshit fucking crazy. I know she was not like this prior to me getting pregnant. They barely spoke before I got pregnant, and soon as she found out we were having a baby, she sunk her claws in. With the whole my baby isn't a baby anymore bullshit. We are literally in our 30s. Yikes. You're not wrong, Stray. You're not wrong. Nico is always buying stuff, but they're always worrying about how much they have left. Yes. I am very conscious of how much money I have. I don't always make the best financial decisions, but I'm at a point where if the purchase is going to make me happy, it's hard for me to justify, like, especially if it's one I can see making me happy for an extended period of time. Then I have a hard time being like, well, no, I shouldn't buy that then, because short-term goals are really the only thing that are attainable right now. Just because all of the long-term goals are just so expensive. Although, since I'm going to get Amazon to pay for the top surgery, it's not going to be as expensive. So that's definitely nice. Getting the new car, however, is going to be very expensive and annoying. But my rent didn't go up that much. I did sign the new lease. It only went up $30 a month, which is fantastic. I could not ask for better. So that's good to not really have to worry about rent going up this next year. So that's really nice. You know. But I'm definitely not the worst at spending my money, because some people will just spend money without looking to see how much they have. I am not one of those people. I always check. I always look. I always make sure that I have the money that I'm spending, with the only exception being using the credit card, which unfortunately is a thing I have to do. But I could definitely be better about it. That's for sure. I could definitely never buy anything that makes me happy, but what would be the point in going about my days if I can't spend a little money on myself here and there, you know? Like, God forbid I have a little bit of joy, you know? All right. So if all else wasn't insane enough, she's been trying to convince my husband for at least 3 months to quit his job, search and rescue, to go work with her so they can spend more time together. She works in a medical rehab facility. I told him I won't tolerate that. For one reason, it's $13 an hour, $10 less an hour than he makes now. Absolutely not. I've talked with him. If he goes there, I will end up having to go back to work because $13 an hour cuts his monthly income in half. And this is not what we agreed to or planned for. Not only that, but her job is bi-weekly pay and doesn't have benefits for a year. He had full benefits at his last job. He told me he didn't want to work with his mom and not to worry about it. About 2 months ago, he said that. But I just found out last night that he did in fact quit his job and applied at the place his mom works and bypassed the interview process because mama vouched for him. So now he has a job with her. I wasn't nice about it when he told me, admittedly. I asked him why the fuck he would do that, and he goes, well, my mom is getting older and she wanted me to work with her so we can hang out before she passes. She's literally 61 and healthy. I slept on it and decided I couldn't do this. I told him this morning that I couldn't do it, and I'm not going to be overruled by a woman who refuses to stay in her lane. I'm not going to bow down to mommy's boy or a woman who grossly won't leave her son alone. He can do it on his own, and we can do this separately. I told him I will take the money I saved, $23K of the $26K. Oh, most of the savings was hers. Well, I guess because they've been using his expenses for the monthly expenses, or his income for the monthly expenses, and figure it out on my own, and that he needs to leave and go back to suckling mommy's teat at her house. He, for whatever reason, is shell-shocked that I'm taking it this far and says I'm the asshole for not understanding that his mother is getting older and wanting to spend time with him should be important. I'm not budging, though. He's allowing her to destroy our lives. He also did it without your permission, which is a big deal. It wasn't like he quit his job because it was literally killing him. Without your permission, that would be slightly different. He quit a job that he doesn't seem to have an issue with because his mother asked him to. Despite the fact that you said, do not fucking do that. That is incredibly dumb and would fuck us both over, you know? Especially because you're due to have a baby in 2 weeks. And you've done all this pre-planning. Hang out before she passes. Didn't they spend time when he was a kid, right? ETA, I want to touch base on finances real quick for the people commenting being a single mom is going to be great. If he was going to leave and we get divorced, my bills would be reduced by at least 1/4, if not more. I've been helping him pay off his student loan debt for 5 years, and the price keeps increasing, so there's no end in sight. With the $23K I have saved, I could pay for my home and bills for a year and a half. When I add his bills and his debt into the equation, it won't cover a year. I'm not afraid of single motherhood. He would be involved regardless if we separate as well. Yeah, plus he'd have to pay child support. ETA again, he signed a prenup. I owned the house long before we started dating. I withdrew my $23K from the bank and put it in my personal. I already spoke to an attorney and I'm in the clear to do so because I have a paper trail on what was mine versus what was his. I'm an accountant. Number and money is kind of my specialty. I have it all handled legality-wise. Good for you, sis. Honestly, I can't blame her. I would be fed up as well. Especially since his mother really wasn't a big part of their lives before she got pregnant. And she just showed up all of a sudden. Making everything revolve around his mom, who's only 60, is not spending more time before she passes. That is weird, obsessive shit. Agreed. Go visit her every weekend or something. Exactly. You don't have to work and live with her as an adult. That's creepy. I agree. Not the asshole, he has a family. That should be his first priority. By taking this new job, he's putting his family in financial burden. Mommy also needs to take a step back. She feels like she's going to lose her son, but that's no excuse. He quit his job, the job with benefits. She's about to give birth, and he took a 43% pay cut and lost his benefits. If they are in the U.S. and she was on his insurance, he just completely scrapped her health insurance for the birth of their child. Did he get in an accident and lose half his brains? This is absolutely insane, right? I can't imagine taking that big of a pay cut without a baby on the way. You know what I mean? $10 an hour is a lifestyle change amount of money. So, like, if I took a $10 an hour pay cut, I wouldn't be able to afford rent or food or any of the fun purchases that I make. Like, forget fun purchases. I can't afford to pay rent anymore, period. You know, like, $10 an hour is a big fucking deal. A big fucking deal. Especially with a baby on the way. I'm sorry, what? Selling his trousers? Why did he sell his trousers? And how is it gross misconduct? His trousers have been in his wardrobe at home for a long time, and he wanted to make space after redecorating. Are they like police pants? He confirmed the trousers did not bear a police logo or insignia, but admitted that the listing on Vinted indicated they were police issue. Sergeant, I don't understand. Like, maybe if they still had the police logo on them, I could understand, because it'd be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but it didn't. Yeah. The chief constable said letting the issue lie could have created a, quote, slippery slope, one that he cannot allow to get a foothold. It was only when the professional standards department made me aware that I actually thought of how gross a mistake it was. A member of the public was sufficiently angry to report this. That's so stupid. Yeah, how should he get rid of them? Does he turn them back into the police station? Is that how he's supposed to get rid of them? What the hell? That's so goofy. Sorry for the yawns, guys. Jesus. So sorry. So sorry about the yawning. Genuinely. Not the asshole. Your husband just sacrificed all that money that you've saved, and he sacrificed the year of maternity leave that you plan to pay for with it. You're right that you have a husband problem. I recommend initiating divorce immediately because they will calculate child support on the basis of his previous salary. Please confirm this with a family law attorney local to you. Your husband has made it perfectly plain that his mother's wishes are more important than you or his child. He won't be able to parent a child. You can't force him to parent, but you can legally force him to contribute financially through the process of divorce and child custody. I'm so sorry that you learned about him at this late of a date. I really wish he just stayed in his incestuous relationship with his mother and left you out of it. Yeah. What do you mean, Stray? God, I'm tired of yawning. No, this OP is definitely not the asshole. Oh, yeah. No, I don't care. There's so few of us here also that it doesn't it doesn't matter. Because no one here is gonna get butt hurt by really anything that you say. So I've cultivated a very small little group of friends that don't get their feelings hurt super easily and willingly make fun of themselves and therefore are harder to offend. So so it works out. Ah. I'm sorry, what? Oh, I haven't changed any settings. If settings have changed, it's been an automatic change because I don't change the settings. I don't. Ooh, a couple of short ones. Alrighty. Am I the asshole for calling off my wedding because I discovered something? Hi, 28 female here. I got engaged last year with my ex-boyfriend of more than 10 years. We never lived together, but I think I can confidently say that I know him, or so I thought. No, you should definitely live with someone before you marry them. Turns out that he is in so much debt with the bank and tons of cash loan applications. The reason, he is addicted to online gambling, Casino Plus, Bingo Plus, and more. I know that he is playing casino online, but I never thought he was already addicted to the point of needing to apply for loans just so he could play. Am I wrong for immediately calling off the wedding? No. For context, I came from a family where debt and gambling has always been a problem, so I promised myself that I want to get out of that situation. My friends are telling me to try to fix things first to help him with his problems instead of leaving him. What do you guys think? You've been together for 10 years and you only recently discovered he has a gambling addiction. No, you should definitely leave that situation. Especially if he's so addicted that he's taking out loans and shit to cover his addiction. So definitely not the asshole. Yeah, run. A gambling addiction. I mean, there are a lot of addictions that I think are deal breakers, but I feel like gambling addictions are just so destructive in a way that other addictions aren't. You know, just because finances are such an important, like, it's one thing to be married to someone who's got a drug addiction and are trying to get better, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like that's I feel different about being married to a drug addict who is trying, specifically one who is trying to be better. Someone who's just like, I'm going to do drugs and fuck you. I'm going to be an addict. Fuck you. That's different. But like, we're going to speak specifically about people, who know they have a problem and are trying better. This guy is not under that category because he's been with this person for 10 years and they only recently discovered the addiction, which means he's been hiding it and lying about it. So bad. She would have discovered this sooner if they lived together sooner. I want to say that up top as well. I am very much a proponent of you need to live with someone before you marry them. You need to have sex with someone before you marry them. I am very strong in my belief in that. And I always have been, because you never truly know a person, but it's a real good start when you live with them. You get to know things about people when you live with them that you would have no other way of learning. And it's vitally important, in my opinion, to live with someone and have sex with someone before you marry them. Even as a person where sex is not an important thing to me, I still feel that having sex with someone is important before you marry them, especially if you want that marriage to be an actual rest of your life thing. And it's not just a thing, like just a fling where you just get married and stay married for a couple years and then move on to the next guy. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But if your goal isn't forever, then do what you want, I guess. But if your goal is to marry one person and be married to that one person for the rest of your life, you need to know them very well before you commit to that shit. I absolutely believe in sex before marriage. I think the idea of getting married to someone, especially I mean, nowadays marriage isn't as much of a contract of ownership as it used to be, but with as for people who think marriage is like vitally important and is like something you should, like people who are very anti-divorce, I think the idea of being very anti-divorce but also being anti-sex before marriage is so stupid, because as we've discussed today already, sex is very important to people, and it's a deal breaker in a lot of relationships. So if you marry somebody and you're in a family situation where divorce is seen as the worst sin you can do, and you've not had sex with the person before that you've just married, and they're maybe really bad at sex, or they have a kink that absolutely turns you off in every capacity, like maybe there's something specific about how they want to have sex versus how you want to have sex that just is not going to ever be compatible, and you didn't know that, but you're now locked in a relationship with that person forever, and because of the family you're part of, you can't leave that marriage because divorce is evil and bad. Like, that's just not a situation you want to be in. It sounds like a rough spot to be in general. Now, if you're if you're the type to say that, oh no, divorce is fine, which I agree, divorce is fine. I think divorce is an important tool to have in your arsenal. It's definitely one to avoid. I would, like, for me, it's something I'd try to avoid. Like, because I'm going to take every precaution before marrying someone to make sure that we're compatible. I would not. I'm not the type to rush into stuff before I really feel like I know somebody. So it's not as, it's not really one I think I'll need, but I think. Where was I going with that? Divorce is, by a lot of people, especially religious people, divorce is seen as like a cardinal sin. It's like a big fucking deal. Because, marriage is like in the eyes of God, and it's like holy union and all that bullshit. So divorce is seen as a big deal. I am not of the belief that it's a big deal. It's just another piece of paper that you sign. Just like marriage is just a piece of paper that you sign. I am of the belief that marriage is a promise. I like the idea that the purpose of marriage, other than, binding you legally, is also kind of a promise to yourself and to the other person. I definitely think it's important. I see it as more important than just signing a piece of paper at a courthouse. I think it's more important than that, but I don't think it's a holy union. I'm somewhere in the middle on marriage and its importance. I don't think it's a holy union. I think it's a very important union, though. But at the same time, divorce is absolutely necessary. Because people are really bad at decision making. Humans are very bad at decision making and are very indecisive creatures. So divorce is very important and necessary. I think this specific situation with this OP is sadly pretty black and white. This guy has been hiding a gambling addiction from his partner for a while, if not the entire time they've been together. I would imagine not the entire time they've been together, because they met when she was 18, but maybe they're high school sweethearts or something. I don't know. But more than 10 years, and this isn't something this person has come to you to talk about. It's a big problem. Definitely a deal breaker. Just from lack of trust and with the secrets and everything. That alone is enough to call it off, regardless of what the secret is, quite frankly. Because 10 years is a long motherfucking time. 10 years is so much time. So much time. This title is just wild. Would I be the asshole for not inviting my sister-in-law to my baby shower after she announced her pregnancy at my daughter's funeral? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, she did what? She did what now? She did what? What? Blown away. Okay. In 2020, 28 female, gave birth to my daughter. In 2022, she passed away after a fight with childhood cancer. It was the hardest time of both mine and my husband's lives. Since then, it's been a struggle every day, and I miss her more than I ever thought I could miss someone. It's like a part of me was lost with her. I mean, yeah, that's what happened. Shortly after she passed away, we had a memorial service for her. That is where my sister-in-law decided to tell people that she was expecting. She didn't make any big announcements or anything, but more than 10 people at my service heard, and it was what everyone was talking about. To understate it, I was livid. I would also be fuming. Hades would have nothing on me, all right? A few months ago, I found out that I'm pregnant again. My own sister really wanted me to plan a baby shower. I said okay, and I've been working on who I want to invite. I really don't want sister-in-law there. Besides what she's did, she's a vindictive and mean person, and I cannot stand her. I don't want her there. I mentioned it to my husband, and he said he could care less whether she's there or not, lol. But for the sake of saving face, I want opinions before I do this. Would I be the asshole for not inviting her? Also, for context, I would still be inviting my other two sister-in-laws, husband's other sister and husband's brother's wife. She'd be the only one not invited. No, I think she lost the right to come to your baby shower when she decided to make it everyone else's business the fact that she was pregnant at your previous child's fucking funeral. I'm sorry. You couldn't tell people on tomorrow? You couldn't make a post on Facebook tomorrow? Couldn't make some phone calls the next day or next week? Sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry. What? Not the asshole if anyone asks why the other sister-in-laws were invited and she wasn't, explained that they didn't announce their pregnancy at your daughter's funeral. Yeah, it really is this simple. Anyone with a functioning brain will empathize with OP. Yeah, I agree. Also, if your husband couldn't care less if she's there or not, absolutely don't worry about not inviting her. Yeah. Nope, I wouldn't want someone around me like that. Announcing a pregnancy at the death of a child is insane. Yeah. Oh, not inviting her would be the least I would do. Can't believe you didn't beat her worthless ass into the ground. Not the asshole. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Not the asshole. You said she's mean and vindictive, so be prepared. If she has a girl, she may use your little girl's name for her child. I'm sorry for your loss. Yikes. She had her baby. It was a boy, and she named it the same as her that her own sister had wanted for years. So you're telling me what you're telling me is no one is going to miss her, not the asshole. Yeah. The audacity of some people startles me. Whew. Blown away. All right. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter to find another place to live because she's pregnant again? OP is a 49 female. My daughter Josie, 19, had her first baby when she was 15. My husband and I were devastated at first because we knew this was going to be a very difficult path for our daughter. We did all we could to give her sex education, but it wasn't enough, and we couldn't turn back time, so all we could do was support her in what she wanted to do. My husband and I helped Josie take care of our grandson and encouraged her to finish high school. She never did because she said her priority was being a mother, and she didn't have time to invest into finishing high school. We told her she would either go to school or get a job, but we weren't going to give her the option of doing neither for more than a year after she gave birth. Good parents. So she got a part-time job at a hair salon. The father of my grandson, who was her age, would give her about $100 a month for baby-related stuff and would come over every couple of months to see his son. But that was all he did, although he lived in the same city as his son. A few days ago, Josie broke the news to us that she's pregnant again. The father is the same boy who got her pregnant the first time. My husband and I were pissed. How can she be pregnant by that boy for a second time when he was very obviously not consistent or helpful with their first baby? And with Josie living with us rent-free and us having to take care of my grandson for her so she can work, go out, etc., this does not seem fair at all, and she could add another baby into this mess. Okay, you said that he wasn't consistent, but you also listed his consistencies up in the prior paragraph. You said would give her about $100 a month and come see him every couple of months. So he wasn't consistently around, but he was consistently providing something. And if he was the same age as her, a 15-year-old providing $100 a month is pretty fucking impressive. But I don't know how long that lasted for, because it's been 4 years, but you know. After a few days of thinking about it and discussing it with my husband, we decided to tell Josie to move in with the father of her children and raise the children together. She said they're not in a relationship, so they can't live together, and they wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. I told her she needs to figure something out because we, my husband and I, are not willing to raise another baby for her. She said, "You're never satisfied with anything I do. You told me to get a job, so I did, and now you're complaining that you had to raise the baby. You wouldn't have had to if I didn't have to work. I can't do both things at once." Babe, who was going to pay for the baby? Who was going to pay for the baby? The baby daddy? Because he wasn't paying for the baby. And I definitely can't raise 2 kids on my own and work. What 19-year-old can do that? Babe, then you're going to have to look at other options other than having a second child. You can either send the child out for adoption, you can go get an abortion depending on where you live, or you can suck it on up and get over it and make it work. Yeah, it's wild that she thinks it's their problem. I agree. Especially because she's an adult now. She's 19 now. Alright? She's 19 now. At 15, you can use the naivete of not knowing better to explain the lack of condom. But at 19, no. You don't get that excuse anymore. Especially after having a teen pregnancy, you don't get to say, oh, well, she's just young and naive and didn't know any better than to wrap it up. Like, she should know. You know how I know she should know? Because she has another kid already. So she knows the consequences. Yeah, why are you having kids with some loser guy you're not even dating? Still, yeah. I replied, we try to teach you how to be responsible after your first baby, and we did all that we could to be there for you. You clearly haven't learned a thing. Yeah, because she's been living with her parents rent-free since she gave birth to that child. So it's not our job to keep picking up after you. So before your baby arrives, discuss living arrangements with the father and figure something out. She's been crying and not talking to us since. She called both sets of her grandparents to speak to my husband and I and change our minds so we could help her raise the babies. My husband's parents think we're being very harsh and punishing her for something that's already happened, which isn't helpful. They offered to take Josie and our grandson, but Josie doesn't want to take her kids so far away from their dad. My in-laws are saying we'll regret abandoning our daughter and that we should be showing her a better example of unconditional love. I just don't know what more we could do without sacrificing our own lives. Am I the asshole? How are you not being... You were supportive with the first kid. I don't think you could have been more supportive, quite frankly, but you have to draw a line somewhere. And this seems like a very valid place to draw a line, in my opinion. Now the asshole, her grandparents can either foot the bill for her to live elsewhere, or let them move in with one set. Your daughter is 19. She fucked around and found out. Twice. Mm-hmm. Not the asshole, and stand firm, or you'll never be able to retire because she will continue to expect your...
Largesse.
Largesse. Never heard that word before. They're not in a relationship yet. She's continuing to have babies with him. Time to cut the cord, make her get her own place. She's been working for 4 years rent-free. She should have enough saved up by now. Yeah. If the grandparents think you're being harsh, they can take her in. Yeah. Not the asshole. She needs to learn life is hard when you make terrible choices. It's about time she learns that lesson. I would add that giving the baby up for adoption should be considered. After all, unwed teenage mothers are adoption's bread and butter. I'm sure there's some couple out there desperate for a baby. That's all we're prepared to take care of it. True. Yeah. I know she's 19, but wow, does she not realize that if she didn't have a job, then you'd just be even more on the hook financially instead? It feels like she's completely missing the point here, which is she feels entitled for you to support her with it, time and money. She admits she can't work and raise 2 kids, so then why have a second when she knows it will rely on support you didn't consent to? That's just not how it works. Yeah. Definitely not the asshole here. Definitely not good decision making. It's not good decision making at all. I don't know why it's not relevant at all, but it reminds me of the 2 Jodie shows I just watched. Because in both shows we've got characters making bad decisions. I mean, one of them is about people who've been locked up, and then the other one is not really about bad decision making, but people do make bad decisions in the show. As is true with every show, that's kind of how conflict happens, is people making bad decisions. But it's always like, especially when you're watching an actor that you like, you always want their characters, or at least I always want their characters to make the right decisions. I always want most characters to make the right decisions. There are occasionally times where I'll cheer on a character for doing the wrong thing, but generally speaking, I like it when the characters that I enjoy are making good life decisions that are going to make their lives better. And so every time that when I was watching these shows and someone was about to make a bad decision, I would just go, ooh, bad decision making. Or when they'd be making a good decision, I'd go, oh yes, we love good decision making. Like, I'd be praising their positive and negative decision making skills. And this just feels like the negative decision making skills that you would find in a shitty little, like, honestly, a reality TV show. This is very 19 and Pregnant, isn't it? 19 and Pregnant Again is what it should be called. Better question, why did the 15-year-old get to keep the first kid? That should not have happened either. That's a child with a child. I think it's up to her. If the parents wanted to support her in raising her first kid, I think that's fine. I think they have every right to do that. But I think she should have learned from the first kid to get on birth control and learn what a Plan B pill is and wrap it up after the first kid. I agree, if it had been me, I wouldn't want to keep the kid, but not everyone is like that. Some people change really aggressively when they get pregnant, and it gives them a new lease on life. So I'm not going to fault them for the decision to let her keep the first kid, because it would have been really rude. I feel like it's for her parents to force her to give this kid away when that wasn't what she wanted would have caused a major rift in their relationship, and they wanted to clearly be there for their daughter. And I can't say that I wouldn't do the same thing, nor can I say that I would. I'd like to think that I'd like to hope I'd be in the financial situation to do the same thing. Yeah, because she's entitled, but I think that's a different problem, I think, from the support side of things. They probably just weren't pushing her enough during those first 4 years of support, and that's why she turned around and fucked up again. I think they probably should have, I don't know, set her up in her own apartment or something and got her kind of on her feet once she was old enough, because obviously she was 15. They couldn't, say, oh, fuck you, get out. I mean, technically they could. People do that all the time, but they shouldn't. They shouldn't have kicked her out at 15. But once she hit 18, they should have, or once she hit 16, they should have started charging her money to live with her, as well as maybe charging for babysitting here and there. And then once she hit 18, they should have been like, hey, you need to move out. That should have been the priority. If she didn't want to finish school, especially since she didn't finish school, I would have made her finish school. I would have made her finish high school. I don't give a fuck. No, you're finishing high school. What the hell? And then after you finish high school, you don't have to go to college or anything like that. But after high school, then we can talk. You know what I mean? Like there should have been a clear year-to-year plan of sort of like minor goals that they needed to not inflict, but like enforce, like milestones of like, you need to finish high school, and then after you finish high school, you need to get a job because you need to start paying us rent after you finish high school, or you need to pay us for babysitting after you finish high school, and then once she turns 18, then encourage her to move out and find a place to live on her own. Maybe take the rent payments that she's been giving you and use that money as, a deposit for an apartment to move her into. But I don't disagree with their decision to support their daughter. I disagree with the way they went about supporting their daughter. And I agree with their decision to put their foot down now. Because I would also be livid. I would be so mad and very upset. We don't know if her parents are rich or not. This is a fairly common situation, unfortunately. All right. Am I the asshole for breaking up with my girlfriend, 27 female, over her younger sister, 24 female? I need some outside perspective on the situation. I broke up with my girlfriend 5 days ago due to her sister's behavior. Me and my ex have been dating for the last 2 years. During this time, her sister has come on to me multiple times. I'm not completely sure about the amount of times, but it was almost every time I saw her. I've told the sister multiple times to leave me alone and to stop her behavior as I don't do the cheating thing, but that did nothing. I've spoken to my ex about it multiple times. She even caught her sister in the act of trying to lock me in a room with herself. Nothing changed. That's so weird. I have spoken to the parents about it, and that the behavior of the youngest daughter is unacceptable. But again, nothing happened. I'm not going to lie and say the sister was ugly. No, she's actually really beautiful, but I am 100% sure I have not let her on or anything. Even when I greeted her, I gave her a side hug every single time. I've never been in a room alone with her or anything. I just keep my distance from her at all costs. I don't have her on Insta or Facebook. I don't even have her cell phone number. We have never shared a text or phone call. Her family even gave me a stupid nickname of the puppy because I follow my girlfriend around everywhere when we are over at their house. The only reason I follow her is because her sister's behavior seems to stop when she is around. I've told her that I will stop going over to her parents' house because that is where the problems are, and I want no problem of it. She didn't like the idea and sulked around the house for weeks because I didn't want to go with her. No point in time did I tell her that she can't go. I just said I wasn't going with her. Okay, I need to put this in perspective. Swap the genders. Let's say OP is a girl, and it's actually her partner's brother doing this. Creepy, right? Super creepy. Let's read it as if it's a chick. His brother has come on to me multiple times. I'm not completely sure about the amount of times, but it was almost every time I saw him. I have told my partner, I've told him multiple times to leave me alone and to stop his behavior as I don't do the cheating thing, but that did nothing. I've spoken to my ex about it multiple times. He even caught his brother in the act of trying to lock me in a room with himself. Nothing changed. Doesn't that sound super fucking creepy now? If it didn't before, it should now. It sounded creepy before, but it sounds even creepier now. And no one's doing anything about it. This guy is being harassed by his ex's sister, and no one is doing anything about it. Yeah, that's why I swapped it, because not everyone is gender blind like we are. So, and even I fall into the trap sometimes of it, even I fuck it up sometimes. So, it's helpful to put it in perspective for those who who still can't see it both ways, or who just struggle to, which is why I swapped it, because it was already creepy. But especially the whole trying to lock him in a room with herself, like, that's so weird. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is textbook harassment. That's what this is. At no point did I tell her she couldn't go. I just said I wasn't going to go with her. Yeah, I don't understand that either. That's super weird. Like, that's so weird. I relented 5 days ago and went over. We had too much to drink and slept over at the parents' house that night. In the morning, I woke up with the sister completely naked in bed next to me. Okay, this is a crime. This is a crime. Call the police. I stormed out of the room and down to the kitchen and told her we had done in front of her parents. She was silent for what seemed like minutes and started to break down, asking why. All I said was go look in that room, and I stormed out of the house and got in my car. It took less than 2 minutes. Then the calls started to come in, not just from her, but from her parents as well. I didn't answer any of the calls. Right. Same. Like, if one of my brothers started hitting on my partner, like, first of all, you're both married. And second of all, that is my partner. What the fuck are you doing? If my little sister started hitting on my partner, that would also be fucking weird, unless it was very clear that it was a joke between everybody and that my partner wasn't super fucking uncomfortable with it. When I got home 40 minutes later, I had 108 missed calls from her and her parents and 36 messages, 2 from her parents. The messages from her parents just apologized to me, saying they thought I was joking about the sister every time I brought it up, and they didn't believe me. All I got from my now ex was sorry, and she will handle it, and it will never happen again. I shouldn't leave. We can work through this. I'm just done. She has even gotten my family involved and our friend. 90% of everyone is on her side, saying I'm overreacting and that I'm the asshole for dumping her, that we can sort this out. The parents not believing you is one thing, but clearly your partner didn't believe you or care either, because she didn't put a stop to it. Like, if my partner was getting hit on by somebody, anybody, not even a family member, somebody, and they told me they were uncomfortable with it, I would be doing everything I could to make sure they didn't have to fucking put up with that shit. You know? Especially if it's one of my family members. You know what I mean? But clearly, this partner doesn't fucking care, because she didn't put a stop to it, because the behavior continued and escalated. The parents not believing him is one thing, but the partner should have done something about it, quite frankly. I can't blame him for leaving her, genuinely. I sent her a message that she has until Sunday to get her things out of my house. I'm just done. Surprisingly, she has not sugarcoated anything and explained everything correctly to everyone, but I'm still in the wrong for leaving her. Her parents, in their messages, are angry at me for hurting their daughter. My family is angry because they love her. Our friends are angry because I refuse to take her back and saying I'm overreacting. 2 years of this crap, and I'm overreacting. Am I the asshole? No, you are not the asshole. Call the police. Yeah, you've been sexually harassed for the last 2 years. I don't know what's the law where you live, but what the sister did may reach sexual assault. I can't imagine taking all of your clothes off and climbing into bed with someone without their knowledge or consent is legal. I would look into making a police report immediately before you're the one accused. She sounds mentally unwell, in addition to being a criminal. No mentally and emotionally healthy person would rug sweep all of this. It's insanely disrespectful to ignore your distress. Not the asshole. Clear as day. Please have nothing to do with any of these horrible people. Take your police report and look into getting some type of no contact order against the whole unhinged family if they persist in contacting you. My God. Agreed. Not the asshole. You tried to work it out for years. Undoubtedly, you weren't taken seriously by her or her family until a naked girl is found in your bed. Good riddance. I personally don't know you, but I'm a woman and totally agree with you cutting contact. I'm not sure what your family and female friends are thinking. If your girlfriend or her parents had walked in while you were still asleep, it would be an entirely different ballgame. You would have been accused of who knows what. Yeah. Yeah. Not the asshole. Your ex sucks. The sister sucks. Your friends and parents suck. If this was the other way around and you were coming on to her sister, you'd be in jail for sexual assault. What is wrong with your friends and family? They're all being ridiculous and horrible people. You did nothing wrong, and honestly, I think breaking up was the best choice for you. Yeah. I would have said if this were the other way around and you were coming onto her sister, you should be in jail for sexual assault. Not necessarily that it would be. I agree. What is messing with my mind, albeit, is that 10% of people on my side are all men. All the female friends and the ones in my family are saying I'm taking it too far by breaking up. That is the reason for my post. Every female I have in my life is saying that I'm the asshole. I did receive a perspective from a female member in the comments that I did not consider, and you're also putting some clarity in my head. I guess the next step is to start cutting people out. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not the asshole. If the genders were reversed, it would be looked at as a sex criminal. You told everyone you could and tried to avoid it. Anyone outside of her and her parents being salty is an asshole too. Yeah. That's so fucked. I can't. She should be locked up for crimes. For all the crimes, quite frankly. For every crime. Like, I would feel so fucking violated if I just woke up with a naked person in bed next to me who wasn't my partner and that I didn't give permission to be there. Especially if it was someone that I've made it very abundantly clear in the past, I don't want anything to do with you. Especially in that way. Like, Jesus. I would never want to marry into a relationship like this because imagine her being your sister-in-law. That's the thing you need. The last thing you need, and it will never stop. Apparently the apple doesn't fall from the tree because now they're harassing you too. You try to warn them and say something, they ignored it, and now she's become a complete and utter sex pest. Again, I'd run. Agreed. I would honestly press charges against her sister. This is literally sexual harassment. Yeah. I agree that he should bring up to his buddies how they would feel if it was the other way around. Ask her parents how they would feel if your ex woke up at your house and your brother was naked in bed with her without her consent. If they think that's okay, they're lunatics, and who cares what they think. If they think that's not okay, but what their daughter did is okay, then they're sexist, and who cares what they think. It boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. Oh my god. Why are people fucking insane? Like, it's just ridiculous. Ooh, we love a title. Am I the asshole for ruining my daughter's life? I have an 11-year-old daughter. We gave her a phone 2 years ago. It was an old iPhone 8 of mine. She mainly uses it for calling or texting with friends and social media. She recently has been wanting a new phone because her phone was old and all of her friends have new phones. So I thought the iPhone 13 would be a good option as it's $600. That's a lot cheaper than I expected it to be. It has a good camera battery life and it looks the same as every other iPhone. But she specifically wanted the iPhone 15 Pro Max because apparently it plays console level games and has a 120 hertz display. My daughter is a gamer and has always complained about her phone not being able to game properly as it's old. I did already tell her that she would be getting an iPhone 13, but she's adamant on the 15 Pro Max, which costs double. I think what you should do is say she can have the 15 if she pays for half of it. The $600 can be a gift, and the you paying for half of it will be a gift since she's only 11. And she needs to find a way to make the other $600. If the 11-year-old wants an adult phone, she can go be adult and make money somewhere, whether that be mowing lawns or babysitting, or there's plenty of ways for an 11-year-old to make money. So, you know, I'm sure they got it refurbished, and especially if they're on the 15 now, that wouldn't surprise me that that's how much the 13 is. I mean, it did initially surprise me, but when I then continued reading and saw that that the 15 is closer to what we're doing right now, I was like, oh, okay, that makes a little more sense. Honestly, I think it's a waste of money, and said no. My daughter then got mad at me and said I'm ruining her life and that her best friend has a 15 Pro Max. My wife is considering we get the phone and tell my daughter it's a big gift. Am I the asshole? I think you should tell her it's a big gift anyways and still make her pay for half of it. Yeah, if you haven't heard, you're ruining my life more than once by the time your kid is 11. You aren't doing your job. Yeah. Pretty sure mine started at 6 because I wouldn't let her eat ice cream for dinner. Yeah. My 7-year-old son asked for different parents when I removed YouTube from the TV after he violated the rules. I'm used to being hated. If you get her the phone she wants, you'll be teaching her that her drama behavior gets her everything she wants. It'll be a downward spiral from there. I agree. Why in God's name is an 11-year-old on social media? Yeah, that's a fair question. True. You should just get her an Android. They're cheaper anyways. They do all the same shit, but they're significantly cheaper. So, or at least they can be significantly cheaper. I say as I sit here with my like $600 or $700 phone. I think that's how much this one was. I don't remember. I think it was $700. Just because her friend has one doesn't mean she gets one too. It's a great lesson for differences in family income. If my 6-year-old can understand that we don't always get the expensive things, I'm sure your 11-year-old can as well. Yeah. Definitely not the asshole, but you would be the asshole for allowing this behavior to continue. Am I the asshole for telling my grandpa my dad stole my wedding money? I, 27 female, am getting married in 2 months. From the beginning, we were wanting to elope, but then we decided that we wanted a more traditional, but still low budget wedding, as low as you can get with the prices these days, because we didn't want to regret not doing it. We spoke with our parents about a budget maybe like 8 months ago, and both sides promised to give $10K each. Wow, nice. And we would cover whatever was left and the honeymoon. We were very, very grateful for that. I feel like I've made this clear several times. I am definitely the type that if my wife wanted to, we would just elope and then use whatever money we would spend on the wedding to go on a very spectacular honeymoon. That sounds so much better than having some giant, elaborate, illustrious wedding with tons of guests and no, small wedding where we elope and like we don't even rent a venue. We find a venue that we can get for free. Like we do it in a public park or something, you know, like something inexpensive, but still nice, you know, go out into the woods somewhere and, you know, find a nice spot out in the woods somewhere that we can gather a few friends, say some vows, exchange some rings, and then go on a honeymoon for 2 fucking weeks or something crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like go on some big trip somewhere that we both wanted to go forever, or make it like, or do like a trip around Europe, or, you know, like something big and memorable. You know, not that a wedding can't be big and memorable, but I would rather make that money last a little bit longer, because I feel like, because $10K each, that's $20K that not even you are contributing to it. You can do so much with 20K. Like, that's insane. That's insane. And I can't in any world justify spending $10,000 on one day. You know what I mean? Like, no, sorry. Not happening. The most expensive thing at my wedding should be the ring, quite frankly. No. Absolutely not. And I won't be marrying a woman who thinks that spending thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars on everything from fancy napkins to a dress you're going to wear once is okay. I'm not marrying a person like that. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen because we simply won't agree on how money should be spent in other aspects of our lives. Now, if I have a wife who wants, like, let's say I find the person and they're super frugal with their money. They're exactly like I am when it comes to spending money, but they've always dreamed of a big, illustrious wedding. Then I'll consider it. But I will still have my very, very expensive, not very expensive, but my very, very fun honeymoon after the fact. We will chop that wedding down. Maybe we won't do just an elope. Maybe we'll have a small wedding, you know, a proper wedding. A little bit more than eloping, kind of like this couple was initially planning on doing, and then they started dropping prices, and I went, oh my god. But like, I like the spectacle of a big wedding, and by big I mean a standard wedding, not like a giant wedding, but like a standard wedding. Because I've been to a few weddings, and I like the aesthetic. I think they're nice, but I in the economy that we live in, $20,000 on one day? That's more than some people make in a year. Like, I would feel so guilty walking around like that, you know? Like, you know? No. No. Fuck no. My mother-in-law has already paid her $10K up front, which helps with all the down payments and venue costs. Okay, I can understand a venue being expensive, okay? A few thousand for a venue, I understand. Venues can be very expensive. That I understand. That I can understand it racking up quite a big cost. But at the same time, you can go out into the middle of the woods somewhere and not have to pay anyone anything. You know? So, you can find a really gorgeous spot out in the woods where you can set up some chairs. You know, there are services you can go through where you can rent chairs. You can rent some chairs out in the middle of the woods. Have an artsy friend build you one of those little archway things that you see in the background of wedding photos all the time. And you stand out in the woods and you put on your suit and tie and your dress and you exchange the rings and some words, and then y'all fuck off and go party somewhere, you know? And then on the next day, you fly out of the country and you go do something fun with all the money you saved, you know? My side was supposed to pay their $10K 3 weeks before the wedding to cover food, drinks, and any final expenses. Long story short, my father, history of narcissistic behavior, decided last minute that he was not going to do that anymore. We are now 2 months out from our wedding, and he is no longer willing to pay anything, and we have no savings to cover the cost. We've already paid our section as well. We cannot cancel due to our contract, and we'd rather not take out a loan. I've tried reaching out to my grandpa to ask for assistance, and he told me that he already gave me over $1K for the wedding. I found out that my dad pocketed that money. Am I the asshole if I tell my granddad that he stole the money? I'm afraid of causing drama and being in a worse situation. No, I don't think you would be. I think it was rude for your dad to make such a big promise to then turn back on that. Like, if he'd promised you $2,000 and then turned back on it, you could find a way to figure that out. But $10,000? No. And then he stole the $1,000 you were supposed to get from your grandpa. That's fucked up. Yeah, your dad stole from him too. Exactly. Yeah. You're the asshole if you don't tell your grandpa where his money really went. Yep. I agree. All right, this is going to be the last post, and it's a good one, too. It's quite the topic. Should be very interesting. Oh! All right. Tired of yawning. I'm going to turn on the oven. I'm hungry. All right, last post. Last post of the day. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I might end up not streaming tomorrow, depending on how long the DMV takes. So I'll keep y'all posted for tomorrow, but the hope is to stream tomorrow. But you know how the DMV can be. Sometimes it just takes forever for absolutely no motherfucking reason. So I'll keep y'all posted about tomorrow. All right. Am I the asshole for divorcing my wife after she got an abortion? Poster is 27 male, sorry. My wife, 27 female, have been together for 4.5 years and married for 2. We've discussed kids before marriage and both agreed that we wanted kids. A couple weeks after we got married, we started trying for a baby and she got pregnant, but was having doubts about kids at the time. We discussed it a bit and she said she didn't feel ready yet. I didn't push back and let her make the decision since she's the one who got pregnant. Since she's the one who's pregnant, sorry. 3 weeks ago, she got pregnant again. I was excited, but she still wasn't sure. She said she wanted to wait a little longer, and I tried asking her for a timeline, but she just said when she feels ready, she'd let me know. I asked her if she still wants kids at all, and she gave me a non-answer, where she said she doesn't know if she wants kids anymore, and wouldn't elaborate. I didn't want to pressure her to do anything, but I told her that I want to have kids, and that I need to rethink our relationship if this is the route she wants to go. That's fair. She got the abortion, and I started the divorce proceedings a few weeks later. Seems fair. Some of our mutuals are saying I was wrong to separate because of this, and she's called me a few times sobbing. I really want to be with her, but having kids and starting a family is really important to me, and it feels like she's been too unsure and unclear with what she wants and has been stringing me along in the process. I should have clarified that the second time we got pregnant, we weren't actively trying because she hadn't said she was ready after the first abortion. I'm 100% pro-choice and would never want anyone to be forced to give birth. She's not killing anyone, simply terminating a pregnancy. Also, we're Canadian, and a medical abortion pill is readily available in our province. Okay. And no, I don't see any issue with this. I see this as, initially you both wanted kids, she changed her mind, you broke up. The abortion is not relevant, quite frankly. Especially because it's not like you're upset that she got an abortion or anything. You're completely in support of her having one. You just want kids. So you want to have kids with someone who wants kids. And that's not her anymore. I see no issue here. Having kids is one of those things that it's an all or nothing situation. Either both have to be on board or it doesn't work. You have to either both not want kids or both want kids. You can't be like, oh, I do want kids, I don't want kids. You can disagree on the amount of kids as long as the amount isn't 0. If one of you wants 7 and one of you wants 3, you can make a compromise there. But if one of you wants 0 and the other of you wants 6, there's no compromise there because people who don't want kids, you know? So they're only 27, might just be a not yet on her part. Yeah, it does seem to be a not yet on her part, but he doesn't seem to want to wait, which is completely fine. I think if he's ready for a family and doesn't know if or when she's going to be, because he does say that when he asked if she still wants kids at all, she gave him a non-answer, where she said she doesn't know if she wants kids anymore, but wouldn't elaborate. So it sounds like she might have changed her mind about wanting kids at all. They've been together for 4.5 years, so that's quite a long time, especially in that age group. They've wanted kids, or they've been together since they were 23, 22, 23. So a lot can change between 22 and 27. So, you know, it's very possible she's just changed her mind, and that's completely fine. I mean, a breakup is a breakup. It's not a fun thing to do. So the sobbing doesn't seem out of place to me. I don't think he's the asshole at all. I think this is just a relationship that wasn't meant to be. And that's completely fine. Yeah, definitely not the asshole. This relationship ain't gonna work out. You both want different things. Just end it and move on, and then find someone who does want what you want. Her not wanting kids is okay, but what's not okay is stringing you along with non-answers and shitty communication just to keep you with her. Exactly. OP didn't force his will on her and didn't judge the choice to terminate the pregnancy. But when she couldn't be clear on a timeline, failed to communicate in addition to having a second termination, OP is right to think their future plans may not be aligned. Reddit has seen plenty of women who have been strung along until it's too late to have babies. Here he is willing to do something about it. She has the right to terminate. He has the right to leave. Agreed. Fully agree. Not the asshole. I don't want kids, and I have always been very upfront with that. My ex-husband claimed to not want kids either. It turned out that he was just telling me what I wanted to hear. He didn't want to lose me, so he thought he would just kick the can down the tracks. He eventually spilled the beans in our mid-30s, and we divorced. He was holding out hope I would change my mind, and he was comfortable lying until I did, at least initially. Eventually, he realized that I wouldn't change my mind. Some people will just tell you what they want to hear to keep you around. End it. Find someone who wants the same thing as you. I did, and I don't regret divorcing him at all. I'm so much happier with a partner who is honest about their life plans. Exactly. Plus, it wasn't fair to, in this situation, it wasn't fair to himself to pretend he didn't want kids, and because he loved his partner, you know, like that's not fair to you. Having kids in your life is a very, very, very big deal, and it's a very emotional feeling to have. Like it's a very big sense to have. I've always been, I don't know if I can say always, but I've always, I'm going to say always, but I don't know if that's technically correct. I've always been pretty firm about my stance that kids or no kids will kind of be up to my partner, because I'm not really fully set on either one. And I think that might just be because I don't know yet. It might just because I'm not sure if I want kids or not. I've always said that it wouldn't be make or break for a partner to already have kids, and I stand by that. I agree with that. I don't think that would be a deal breaker. I don't know if them wanting kids in the future would be a deal breaker though. I think I'm at a point where I don't know if I want kids or not. Not that I'd be opposed to it necessarily, but not overly enthusiastic either. But I think that's also just because I'm at a spot in my life where I don't know that I even want a partner. So it makes it hard to know if I want kids when I don't even know if I want a partner. So, you know, but I absolutely understand that wanting kids is like this innate sense that a lot of people have in themselves, same as not wanting kids. The people who are dead set on one way or the other are very much dead set on those things, and I completely understand why, and they should be. That should be something you're certain about, or as certain as you can be, because it's a big deal. Kids are a big deal, very big deal. Not the asshole. That's a real incompatibility. It's fucking weird though that she was actively trying for a baby when she didn't want one. Just from personal experience, maternal mental health can be affected during pregnancy, not just in postnatal period. The pregnancy may have unexpectedly triggered some stuff. True. But it's also possible she just changed her mind. It's possible she did want kids and then she changed her mind. That happens. Yeah. Not the asshole. Most people think divorce requires that there are problems like fights or one fell out of love. Sometimes it's just that you're incompatible with each other. Yeah. Yeah. This isn't something that can be easily compromised on. If you stay together and compromise, one of you will be resentful. It would be different if she was excited about having kids with a time frame in mind, but it doesn't sound like this is something she wants. Even if she wanted kids in, let's say, 8 to 10 years, you can have a preference to have them earlier or enjoy them at a younger age. Yeah. Yes, wanting children versus not wanting children is a non-compromise incompatibility issue. Please continue with your divorce no matter what your spouse says to try to keep you in the marriage. She doesn't want children, which is fine, but she needs to acknowledge it and let you move on to find someone who is compatible with your desire to have children. It's really that simple, genuinely. I have to agree. This person is not the asshole. This sounds completely healthy and amicable. Well, about as healthy and amicable as it can be. So, no, not the asshole. Definitely not. Alrighty, that is gonna do it for today. I am hungry and tired and perfect. The oven just finished. I need to call Max, file my taxes. And yeah, I need to go do some things. Thank you for hanging out. I hope this was fun. I enjoyed it. We had some good stories today, some good conversations. And I think it went all right. I will see, hopefully I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully. That's the plan anyways. We'll see if it happens. Yeah, I'll keep y'all posted on tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you very much. And I'll see you when I see you. Sleep well. Drink some water. Bye.